has almost as many positions as hairstyles. He's hitting 5th. Jason Varitek, the emotional leader behind the plate, hitting 6th. Orlando Cabrera, whose trade coming over the last day of July from Montreal, one of the reasons why the Red Sox much better on D. Billy Millar at 3rd base, the batting champ of a year ago, hitting 8th. And in right field, Gabe, welcome back Kapler. Trot Nixon has struggled with Jared Washburn, hence Kapler gets the go today. Nixon off the bench against the left-handed Jared Washburn, who since coming off from the DL has not pitched as well as he can, son.
Yeah, but one thing Mike Scioscia told us before the game, Boomer, was the fact that at the All-Star break, the starting pitching really started to get it together. That gave the Anaheim Angels an opportunity to catch the Oakland A's in the month of September. Washburn is a big game guy. He threw the first pitch of the World Series for Anaheim a couple of years ago. He's about to start off this postseason.
And he starts off, Tony, against the man at the leadoff spot. Johnny, I'm going to tell you, I know Manny Ramirez, I know Ortiz, and we could talk about the Angel Key. I think if Boston wins, this guy has the best series at the plate and in the field, Johnny.
Yeah, there's no question he's been the catalyst for this offensive lineup. I mean, Ramirez and Ortiz get a lot of credit because they hit the ball out of the ballpark, but this is a guy who sets the table. And 94 RBIs from the leadoff spot. He's doing a pretty good job.
20 homers, 94 RBIs, hit at .304, scored 123 runs. Second in the lead only to Vladimir Guerrero, who scored 124. Well, he won't be to the key to the series with his first at-bat. Kevin Eckstein is there at shortstop, squeezes it, and there is one out here in the Boston first. The Angels have had a couple of changes on defense as well, Tony, down the stretch.
Yeah, and, you know, you look at this defensive lineup here, without Guillen in left field, Mike Scioscia talked about today how defense was important. And he wanted to put Alfredo Amezaga at second base because he felt like defensively, this was a better defensive lineup for his team today. And so pitching and defense is an important part of the Angels' game plan going into this series.
Well, he starts him off with a strike on Mark Bellhorn, who walks a lot. The bad news is he strikes out a lot, breaking the Red Sox single-season mark for strikeouts held since the mid-'80s by their one-time skipper at a time, and certainly third baseman Butch Hobson. 77 Ks, Bellhorn. So walking or striking out, which means when does the bat get on the ball? I don't get it.
That bat got on the baseball 17 times this year and ended up leaving the ballpark. He's one of those guys, Tony, that you know. I mean, he's got some safe zones that you can go to as far as a pitcher's concerned, but you make a mistake, he'll hurt you.
Little flare going out as a Mezaga, coming in as Vlad Guerrero makes a fine running catch, and you could see him pull up a little bit there, gimping. Something to keep an eye on, both Anderson and Guerrero. Little lame out in the outfield, but they're 2 out. Kyle Peterson is working with us all this series. Kyle, down on the field, some early observations.
Yeah, guys, Manny Ramirez, David Ortiz really has led this Red Sox lineup from the middle. They both hit 3-4 over the course of the season, but regardless who's hitting 3rd or 4th, the results have been the same. They've accomplished something that hasn't been done in over 70 years. First group of teammates to hit at least 300, at least 40 home runs, drive in at least 100 since 1931. And boom, you might have heard of the 2 guys that did it then, Babe Ruth and Lou Gehrig.
It's pretty good stuff. You're on any list, any page, you're in the same book with those guys. I think we'll take it. So Ramirez looks at ball 1.
These 2 guys created a lot of history this year. The first duo for Boston since 1969 with 40 or more home runs. That was Carl Yastrzemski and Rico Petrocelli.
That's a great duo for Scrabble, too, when you went Yaz and Rico. Home runs and Scrabble, they were the best. 1-1 the count to the dangerous Manny Ramirez. Tough pitch right there.
Already, Rick, it looks like Washburn is going to mix his changeup in there. And, you know, this one he took a lot off of.
You just take a look at that square. You throw anything in that square and this team can square it up. You have to make it look like it's going to end up there with that late movement out of that zone. Washburn thus far has gotten it done in this at bat.
I think the fans are into this early. This is not Southern California like at all. That'll Do that again. Fouling it off himself.
That's one of the...
Isn't they broke these sticks out from 2 years ago? You think these are new issue rally sticks? What do you think?
Well, they didn't need them last year.
So they're rested. Is that what you're saying?
Took a year off.
Yeah. They got the tire pump out this morning to get these things going again.
Well, one of the things I did this morning when we were talking to manager Mike Scioscia of the Anaheim Angels was I stopped in the video room and just kind of take a look at Washburn's start against Boston earlier this year.
Right, he's gotten everybody to pop it up in the first inning.
And the thing he did in that early start was he came right after guys. He challenged people with his fastball, and already today, you know, he's gotten a couple of pop-ups because he's taken a little bit off the fastball.
1-2 the count to Manny Ramirez. '29-year-old Jared Washburn looking in. Up top. Ball 2.
What discipline for Manny Ramirez. I mean, way out in front of the first 2 strikes, but Tony, he knew he had one more left, and he has adjusted since then.
The one thing about Manny, boy, 2 strikes, he just does not phase it.
No, says Jerry Meals, doesn't punch the ticket for the strikeout, and so Manny has the full count.
Well, the crowd knows how dangerous he is. They were hoping to get that call, but I believe he made the correct call.
Larry Young is behind the plate. Meals at first. Brian Runge at second. Gary Cedarstrom at third. The crew chief Ed Montague left field line. Kerwin Danley on the right field line. Your ups today. And it is off the glove of Sean Figgins. Bounds into left. Can Manny turn this into second? Yes. Figgins in at third base for a little defense as they've done a lot of shuffling. He's played so well. They call that a base hit, and so it'll be a double.
I don't know how they can do that.
No.
I mean, again, he makes the great pitch down. You see everything he was doing to get where he wanted in this at bat. I mean, there was some indecision, Tony, on the part of Figgins there. He kind of hesitated for a second. Then when he tried to come in, he actually caught that ball on the toughest possible hop he could have had. That's an E5.
Yeah, you're right. That's an error. Figgins hesitated when if he'd have come in, he could have probably taken it on a shorter hop. Instead, stayed back, and that ball just kind of bounced up on him and beat him up pretty good over there. And now Ramirez is in scoring position.
And the lefty, or David Ortiz, the bat goes flying, and the ball goes off the glove of a Mezzega, and Ramirez going to score. Mezzega couldn't come up with it. A tough play in the hole. Ortiz first pitch swinging, in Boston on the board.
I mean, that was the first thing Mike Scioscia told us this morning was he wanted the best infield defense he could get. No question in my mind this is a base hit, but Mezzega has got to keep that ball in front of him. If he keeps it in front of him, he is able to keep Manny Ramirez from scoring a run. That was the problem with Figgins. I mean, he tried to olay the baseball. It got by him. It turned what might have been an E5 on first base to an E5 on second. Boston's got the lead.
Kevin Millar looks at a fastball up high. Millar, the first 2.5 months of the year, you were wondering where that power was that you saw so much of last year. And long around late June, he started to light it up. And for Kevin, ended up with 18 home runs, many of them of a large variety for Boston. In there for a strike. So 2 balls off the gloves of Angels, and Boston has scored a run with 2 out.
Tony Millar talked about what got him going was he opened up his stance. What did that do for him?
A lot of times when you open up your stance, it gives you a better look at the baseball coming out of the pitcher's hands. And for him, obviously, that's...
Rip it foul.
That, no problem. That's made a huge difference. He's feeling like he's getting a better look at the ball. When you're getting a better look at the ball, you can wait a lot better. You're not nearly fooled as much. And Millar, pretty much will admit to you he's a pull hitter. He's not a guy that's looking, to lay the ball the other way. He's, looking for a ball middle part of the plate that he can pull and hit up the middle.
He'll go the other way with this, right at Vlad Guerrero, who squeezes it. But Boston does some damage on some balls the Angels could have handled. Kurt Schilling has a run to work with. In the first inning, 2 out, seeing eye single by David Ortiz, and now the Angels who do the little things so well. Didn't do it so well in the top of the first. Trying to come back against one of, as Rick Sutcliffe told you in the beginning, one of the great big game pitchers, certainly, of this era. That'll be Curt Schilling. Sean Figgins leads it off at third base, has been a spark plug. Darren Erstad is playing first base these days. Vladimir Guerrero, MVP candidate in right field. Garrett Anderson in center field. Troy Glaus, the one-time third baseman, didn't expect him back at all this year, but he's the DH. That's young Jeff Devannon in left field. Benji Molina's your catcher. David Eckstein hitting eighth at short. Alfredo Amezica is your second baseman. And they'll go up against the big right-hander, Curt Schilling. Born once upon a time in Anchorage, Alaska. He is. Schilling in there for a strike. And we welcome, thank you very much, John Miller and Joe Morgan and crew. Thank you very much, and welcome here to Anaheim. A beautiful afternoon. If you watch the end of the Cardinals win over the Dodgers, welcome aboard. We are Sean Figgins striking out against Curt Schilling here to lead off the Anaheim first. With 2 out and nobody on, Manny Ramirez is seeing eye double. David Ortiz is seeing eye single. 1-0 Boston. 21-6, Curt Schilling.
And an easy decision for Terry Francona as to who to start in game one. Some people thought it would have been Pedro Martinez, but this isn't the first time that Curt Schilling has moved in front of a Hall of Famer. It was done 3 years ago in Arizona when Bob Brenly started Schilling instead of Randy Johnson in game one. He just thought simply that Curt Schilling was better prepared and focused to get that first win for him. He did it there.
Well, Schilling this season, Boston in his 32 starts, 25-7. And from May 19th on, Boston 20-4 when Curt Schilling toes the proverbial slab. This is Darren Erstad, who is one of the proud and one of the old-time ball players of these Anaheim Angels, the way he plays. And he smacks it to center field. Coming on is Johnny Damon. It wasn't a smack. Damon read it as that. Took a full rip. And Damon kind of waited. And the Angels are in business.
Exactly right. And Erstad took a big swing and hit it off the end of the bat and dropped it in.
Now here's the defense, Tony, for the Boston Red Sox.
So Cabrera's come over and just really given this Red Sox infield some stability. You see he's a Gold Glove winner. Has given them some stability. You know, and this is the one part of the game here where the Angels hope to try to take advantage of the Red Sox is when they get guys on and maybe can take advantage of the outfield throwing arms.
Now here's a guy that could take advantage with one swing, Vladimir Guerrero. And everybody wants to make sure they get their signs straight with this guy. 39 homers, 126 RBIs, 337. Led the American League with 124 runs scored. Had 39 doubles. Oh, by the way, stole 15 bases.
And that's what Darren Erstad is trying to make Curt Schilling think that he will do.
Guerrero sends it to left. Manny Ramirez, though, has plenty of room. And Erstad back to first with 2 outs.
There was no chance that Darren Erstad was going to try to steal a place with Vladimir Guerrero there. What he wanted to do was get Vladimir Guerrero a good pitch to hit. Tony, we know Vladimir Guerrero has a big box. I mean, he can handle a lot of different pitches. That ball's just in enough to stay in the park.
Yeah, you know, in the K zone is going to be great today for fans, especially with Schilling on the hill, because what he's going to do today is he's going to try to start balls in that box and running them out. Whether it's a split finger or the slider, when he's throwing the off-speed stuff, he wants to start it in the box and get it to run out.
Center fielder Garrett Anderson hitting cleanup.
Here's a great time to run, Boomer. A couple of reasons. One, Anderson's not the power guy that Vladimir Guerrero is. You look for doubles out of him from time to time. Plus, you've got a left-handed hitter in the box, which blocks the catcher's view of when that base runner takes off. Well,
Erstad has 16 stolen bases, but I know you're talking about hitting and running.
He only got caught once, so he's going to have to get a good jump because Schilling is quick to home plate. But this is an opportunity for Mike Scioscia to get the game started.
Swinging through that one is Garrett Anderson. Was that an injury-plagued season, yet there he is out in center field. I mean, the Angels don't have a lot of options. Erstad could play center, but then, you know, with Tim Salmon, who, by the way, threw out the first pitch here, very emotional moment. Salmon, knee surgery, upcoming shoulder surgery. He's going to be here with the team for all the games, so he's not there. Glaus, the third baseman, he's the DH, so they don't have a lot of options on defense. And here's Damon coming on again, but that one hangs up there for him. And so the difference, fly ball outs to the outfield. 1-0 Red Sox. Pile out on left center field. 1-0 Red Sox behind Curt Schilling here as we begin the second inning. Chris Berman, Tony Gwynn, Rick Sutcliffe. Well, you couldn't ask for a better day here. This is. Why is my jacket on? What am I, a nut?
You've had a lot going on.
Yeah, I have had a lot going on. This is great. Postseason baseball. We're still thrilled to bring it to you again here on ESPN. Jason Varitek against Jared Washburn to begin the second inning for Boston. This time Figgins an easy grounder at third. Over to Erstad, and there is one out. You know, the Boston Red Sox for a long time this season, you're wondering, come on now. They started brilliantly in April, had the lead. They were 15-6 and up on the Yankees by 2.5 games. But then for 3.5 months, mediocre, just over 500 baseball. August 15th, they were 10.5 back. But since August 16th, on a rainy night at home against Toronto, they've been 34-12.
And how do you know it was a rainy night against Toronto?
I sat at that game, and it was wet. But they have been.
Doesn't say that on my media guy. It says they won.
They won that day, and they're 34-12. The point being, they gelled. That was a couple of weeks. It was 3 weeks after the Varitek A-Rod scrap, late July. That was 2 weeks after Orlando Cabrera, Doug Mankiewicz came over, Nomar Garciaparra, and it's not to put on they needed to get, that's not what we're saying. And then it took a couple of weeks, and then they played what they feel fundamental baseball. Everything clicked in the locker room. Draw your own conclusions, some of which are right, some of which are wrong. But they've been a different ball club the last 6 weeks. How's that play by Erstad, huh? Is that a play by a guy who holds the record in the American League for most consecutive chances in center field without an error?
Yep. Well, Tony, he won, which you would know all about, 2 Gold Gloves playing in the outfield. That couldn't have hurt him on this play.
No, and you know what? He made a play like this in Oakland on Friday night, too. He went back, you know, with his back turned to home plate. And that's a tough play, and he made it look relatively easy.
Takes speed, first of all, to get there.
Yep.
And then to have the calm to secure that baseball over your back.
It's Bill Millar, who was hurt a lot of that time with the knee injury, and then came back, and it was still bothering him. So that was part of that mediocre 3.5 months, if you will. But Cabrera, Mankiewicz, and others, I mean, you have a lot of analysis on why the Red Sox are this sort of team here now, 34-12.
We're going to say a lot of nice things about Cabrera during this series. The one thing we need to say to begin with, in fairness to Nomar Garciaparra, he was never healthy this year.
Correct.
He was going to play defense on one leg all year long. They got a healthy guy in Carrera. And the reason they were 500 for that long period of time, Boomer, they couldn't catch the baseball. They led all of baseball in allowing unearned runs. You can't do that. I don't care how good your pitching staff is. Theo Epstein was talking about what gave him the freedom to make that move, the general manager, trading Nomar and bringing Cabrera in, was what the Anaheim Angels did to his ball club during a series back in May here. They embarrassed him by putting pressure on the defense. And he says, you know what, I knew right then we had to get better defensively for us to get better as a team, and give him the credit for making that move and doing it.
It's a lot easier to manage when you can count on, well, you hope 27 outs, not 30, right?
That's very true.
And
that's exactly what Curt Schilling said. We were giving the opponents 30 outs a night, and we were only getting 27.
And this is a great hitting Boston club, but you saw the record, 49-46 in that stretch in the middle where
they were wondering, are we ever going to get going? Miller on first with 2 out and a ball up high to Gabe Kapler, the number 9 hitter. Are we ever going to get going? Are they ever? What's the matter here? Is there trouble They don't seem to. I mean, they're a free and easy ball club in the locker room, and that's great. With more hairstyles than they have players. It's all good, but it just wasn't clicking for a variety of reasons. And all of a sudden, Washburn is way off the mark.
Well, you talk about, giving away runs. That's exactly what Anaheim did in the top of the first. They gave them a couple of more outs. They took advantage of it. Now you see the patience there on the part of Bill Millar to get on base. You throw Washburn into the stretch. He can't find home plate right now. And if Kapler gets on, you're right back to the top of the order.
One thing back to Boston for a moment. I mean, when they were 10.5 back of the Yankees, they were the only thing you saw printed in the Boston papers, the wild card standings. I don't think the players were worried about, gee, 10.5, we can still catch the Yankees. But the wild card situation helped them get on fire, along as all the other moves. Then all of a sudden, they were in a pennant race. And in the end, I'll just make this comment: the Red Sox chasing the Yankees till the last few days of the season might actually end up helping New York as well. Do you agree with that?
I do. I think. I think it will, because there was still something to play for. And the Yankees really had to fight. This is the hardest they've had to fight to win a division. At the same time,
off the glove of Washburn, Kapler runs well, but not well enough to beat that out. Washburn makes the play to Erstad. And we head to the bottom of the second here to see a red. 1-0 Red Sox. The Red Sox scored a run of the first. And now here comes Anaheim. There's what happened in the first with 2 out, none on. Manny Ramirez, a ball that could not be handled by Figgins at third. A double, and then Ortiz bat flying, ball flying, and Amezaga makes a mess of it. And so that goes as a single by Ortiz. Loosey-goosey Red Sox have their 1-0 lead. Troy Glaus to lead off the second inning against Kurt Schilling. Glaus, the DH, he said, I talked to him before the game, said, I knew I was coming back. So, well, you were the only one.
Yeah.
And that was what counted.
Yeah.
They weren't counting on him at all.
Yeah, they weren't. But he knew, he said when he had surgery, he was going to come back and be part of it in September.
That ball right down the line over a leaping Millar, rattles around for Ramirez, and that's an easy stand-up double to lead off the bottom of the second for Anaheim by Troy Glaus.
Well, and another thing hitting coach Mickey Hatcher told us about Troy Glaus is that when he gets on base, he scores runs. And he does it right here. You take a look at the K zone. Schilling made a mistake with his location. Glaus all over it. And that is just a big, big bat that we remember from a couple of years ago in that big World Series win for the Anaheim Angels.
Absolutely.
Troy Glaus was the MVP in that World Series with 3 home runs.
Well, they all hit that postseason, huh? I mean, that was, talk about a mashing job over the Yankees, the Twins, and the Giants. I mean, they wore out all the horsehide. Jeff Devannon showing bunt.
I love what Scioscia did right there, because Anaheim once again led the American League in productive outs, Tony, which means moving runners. Kurt Schilling is not the easiest guy in the world to pull the ball off of, is he?
No. He's not.
Well, he's swinging away here and pops it. Manny Ramirez in a tough sun field. He at times takes the circuitous route. Made some great plays on the left this year, and some others. That was an out. Okay, his double kind of wasn't really a double, and that wasn't really an out. But that's the way it's. Look at what he's looking at here.
No, but that's a nice way to put. Some of the others. Here we go. He's battling. He's doing everything he can. You see the glasses there, and eventually you see the catch.
He's doing a primetime highlighted.
Yeah. You got the high California sky.
Yep. Benji Molina, the older of the 2 brothers, who are the 1 and 2 catchers here for Anaheim.
I think I wanted to say, excuse me, Rick and Boomer, is Sutcliffe and I'm looking at you.
Sun's getting to you, pal.
Schilling in that situation, Devannon showed bunt, and what he did, he came back and he threw an off-speed pitch. Knowing Devannon wanted to try to pull the ball, got him out in front, got the fly ball to left field.
Keeps the infield back.
Absolutely.
If you would have stayed with that bunt, I'm sure Mike Scioscia would like to have now. He turned the young kid loose. And the young kid has had a great year, but you never know how they're going to handle game 1. This is a different.
And we've seen that already. Figgins staying back on the ball instead of coming up on it. Meziga not keeping that ball in the infield, allowing that run to score. And already we've seen Anaheim Angels not execute.
Bill Millar at third, across to Millar. Glaus standing right at second base, and now there's 2 out.
Right there, if you would have stayed with the sacrifice bunt, you probably would have brought all of the infield in, Tony. That ball might have gotten by Millar.
Maybe got by Millar, or just change the situation. Instead of looking for a ball down, you look for one up. Hit a fly ball. That, you know, one of the reasons why this team won the whole thing in 2002 was because they were aggressive on the bases and because they executed at the plate. And already today in the first 2 innings, we didn't see them execute on the defensive end. Gave the Red Sox 4 outs in an inning. They took advantage of it. Didn't move that runner from second base. And now he's still standing there with 2 outs.
This is a spark plug of a shortstop, David Eckstein. Another man that was a big part of that World Series team as a wild card club 2 years ago. Eckstein at 276 has had a nice year, 16 stolen bases as well, so he moves if he gets on. But with 2 outs and runners in scoring position, he's at the bottom of every hitter in the American League, 133. And now that I've read that, you know what's going to happen. But maybe not against Schilling, but at some point, you'll see him get a base knock with a runner in scoring position with 2 outs.
So he talked about yesterday, you know, knowing that Schilling is going to throw strikes, and he needs to be aggressive.
Well, speaking of strikes, like this one. We get to the next pitch. 1-1 to Eckstein. Glaus at second. Up top. From August 14th on, 9 starts Schilling, 8-0. By August 14th, he's walked 9 guys. Hello.
Yeah, and so you know, in my mind, if I'm facing Kurt Schilling, you know, I'm looking for something that I can hit probably early in the count. I'm going to make him throw that breaking ball or that split finger for a strike.
To right field. And right there is Kepler. Glaus's leadoff double goes for naught. 2 are in the books here at Anaheim. 1-0 Boston. Anaheim, our aerial coverage, courtesy of the Goodyear Tire and Rubber Company. It's fleet of airships, reminding you to travel with peace of mind on Goodyear's new Assurance tires. And we thank those gentlemen and perhaps ladies for our views in it. I mean, this is just bring the suntan oil to the game. It's just perfect. And the Red Sox have the 1-run lead with a run in the first for Kurt Schilling, and now they begin with the top of the order. Johnny Damon, who popped to short to begin the game.
I've got to go back to the top of the second when Bill Millar walked with 2 outs and nobody on. Bill Millar's not going to take you deep in this ballpark when you stay away. If you throw strikes there, you get him out. It's not Johnny Damon leading off this inning. So that walk right there, it turns the order around, and you know you're going to have to face at least Manny Ramirez in this inning.
Damon with the open stance, then moves the foot in and looks at that one. 1-2 Washburn to Damon here in the third.
Well, he just went wild this year, didn't he?
He was great. You know, I just, every time I see him, I think, you know, Johnny, I'm just so envious. I used to have hair like that. I can't do it anymore. He goes, yeah, I know, I'm sorry. Shaved the beard for charity, but grew it right back. The House of David look for Johnny Damon. Whatever works.
You know, even the swing's kind of unorthodox. It kind of gets out in front, but you know what? He gets the barrel of the bat on a baseball.
Oh, he's a good
so
player.
strong.
And he is. He's strong.
Yeah, he understands how to keep it alive.
He's been around for a while and really good at fouling off pitches until he can get something that he can handle. And if you're not careful, he'll hit it out of the ballpark.
He's waited 20 at bats now, though, from Jared Washburn to get something he can handle. He still only has 1 hit in those 20 at bats.
Now staying alive, part of the reason he has 98 hits with 2 strikes, which is the second most in the American League.
Tony, what do you change when a guy basically dominates you like this?
You know, when you're facing a guy that you haven't had a lot of success against, a lot of it is mental. Do you go up there and with saying that you're beat, or do you say I'm due?
Oh, Washburn has handled him twice, and the strikeout here waved and went up high.
He didn't look like a real confident guy during this whole at bat, chasing a lot of pitches out of the zone. We look at K's zone here once again. That is what happened there. And Tony, I love what you said there, because that's what Mickey Hatcher, the hitting coach for Anaheim, told his team about Curt Schilling.
Yep.
He said, if you're beat when you walk into the box, we got no chance. That's that confidence.
Yep. You got to believe in what you're doing and believe in your approach.
Mark Bellhorn fouls the first pitch off. He's been well traveled. Began the year a year ago as the quote answer to the Chicago Cubs perennial question of who's going to play third before Ramirez got over there. Then it was Colorado after that last year. But Boston, they were finding him. He was a big contributor was Bellhorn, even though, as we mentioned, a lot of Ks, a lot of walks.
He's got some big shoes to fill for Boston and what happened at second base there last year. We remember the 5 home runs Todd Walker hit in the postseason for Boston. 3
in this round against Oakland.
But to be honest, that's what was surprising to me, was Walker had some big hits for this team last year. I was really surprised they let him go.
Yeah, they had Pokey Reese. I mean, they originally were thinking, well, maybe get a little defense at second. Reese, and then Nomar hurt. Reese played short a lot of the first part of the year. Bellhorn had more of an opportunity. Well, that August 16th game I went to that we talked about in the rain, which is how I know about that. Mankiewicz played second base the one day, and that's when Delgado plowed him. And you know, Theo Epstein took a lot of, what do I want to use the word chutzpah? Why not? To make some of the deals that he made. This is Figgins over to Erstad, and Bellhorn is gone. Theo at 30 years young, and as general manager of this club, has made move after move after move. I mean, Manny on waivers, but when people forget that, okay, they signed Schilling, they signed Folk, they had the bullpen by committee a year ago. Well, that didn't work. Let's try a real closer. It's Folk. Almost had A-Rod, and then on Valentine's Day, I still have the newspaper headlines at home, reading the New York and the Boston papers when it was apparent that A-Rod was going to the Yankees. It's like reading the French and German papers describing the same battle in World War II. They were completely different stories. Valentine's Day massacre, said the Boston Globe. The New York Post, field of dreams. It's only a couple hundred miles apart. But yet through it all, here's this ball club that is 34-12 down the stretch.
I think it might have been a wake-up call for Manny Ramirez. You know, you're doing some things offensively, but we need more. Pedro Martinez now is in that situation, a free agent at the end of the year. Theo Epstein with a decision to make there, but he flat motivated this team. And he talked about how tough it was on him the first month after trading Nomar. He said he couldn't go anywhere in Boston.
No.
You know, he's a guy that Theo sits in the stands. And I mean, he hears about it, and he heard about it for a long time. Well, there's ought to be some people when they get back to Boston that come up and say, hey, you know, you were right after all.
You know what? I'm sure there are a lot of people who have grown to think that same thing. But, you know, when I see Theo, he used to work for the Padres.
Well, little young kids in Boston for a month or two, or maybe some even now, still crying at night, going to sleep. Nomar, hey, look, I'm not... I feel it's sad that Nomar is still not a Red Sox. I mean, we could take an hour and get into it, but...
And he'll be healthy next year.
Yeah, he will. He's still... This can be a great player. We know that. But he was the link. Williams, Yaz, Nomar. Meanwhile, Washburn trying to nibble again with Ramirez. Doesn't get that one. But it's not easy to just trade a guy like that. But you don't just...
be.
I mean, he was the link. I mean, the image of me when Ted Williams died, he and Johnny Pesky walking arm in arm around each other out to the Green Monster, consoling Pesky, Williams' friend and teammate. Meanwhile, Washburn has Manny Ramirez guessing, doesn't like the call, but he will sit. 2 Ks for Washburn from the rock pile, and caught between a rock and a hard place trying to hit off this guy, Curt Schilling. Alfredo Amezaga, the second baseman, number 9 hitter, leading off for the Angels, who trail 1-0 here, bottom 3. Young man born in Mexico, to high school in Miami. And playing second, because we haven't mentioned his name yet, Adam Kennedy, another big part of this team. A couple years ago, it's early this year, gone for the year. May not play till the middle of next year. They're hoping that's not the case. So that's why, well, who's this guy at second? There's another change they had to make.
Well, not only did they miss the bat of Adam Kennedy, but they miss his defense as well. You know, with his postseason experience, he would have kept that ball in front of him on the base hit by Ortiz, and this could be a scoreless game.
Up top to Lemezica, who had that grand slam and the huge Friday night 10-0 pasting of the Oakland A's that really for the first time since early in the year gave the Angels the inside track on the West. He hit the slam. By the way, just while we mention this, how about Andres Galarraga he's not on the postseason roster, at least this round, being called up by the Angels, hitting a homer, number 399, the smile around the bases. That was really great to see.
Well, one of the most respected guys in all of baseball. In fact, the number on the back of Manny Ramirez jersey directly related to the Big Cat, who's one of his heroes.
2-2 pitch, and Mezica swings through that. So Curt Schilling, who began his professional career in the Red Sox organization, says, you know what, I'm back. What curse of the Bambino?
I'm a Christian. I know for a fact it doesn't exist, and that's not, you know, the curse is all about, it's for people that need an excuse for why one team was better than the Red Sox whenever. It comes down to execution. Right now, between now and the end of the playoffs, you got to win 11 games.
Well, I agree with him, because by definition, a curse is when you purposely try to harm or bring discontent to somebody. Boomer, let's face it, all they did, they made a bad trade. All right? They traded Babe Ruth for some money. That's not a curse, man. That's stupidity on your front office.
Sut, can I ask you a question?
What?
I do travel with you a little bit. I have never seen a dictionary in that briefcase of yours. You looked that up?
My daughter, who's a senior at TCU, gave that to
I see, Shelby. I get it. I knew you needed some help with that one. Well, hey, look, if Schilling, what else would you expect a guy whose wife, he and his wife Shonda have 4 kids. The oldest name is Gehrig. Of course, there's no curse of the Bambino. Meanwhile, at the top of the order, Sean Figgins with the second hit each inning for the Angels. And of course, you know, everywhere they go, they see these signs. 1918, Babe Ruth started and won 2 games in that 1918 World Series. You could argue, though, that the reason the Red Sox even won that World Series is that they played the Cubs. Somebody had to win. They won a lot. They were 5-0 back when in the World Series, but since then, well, you know. Is this the year? Well, the Angels certainly don't think so from Boston's standpoint. Boston likes the fact that the champion, the World Series champ the last 2 years, has been a wild card team. Marlins last year, Angels 2 years ago. Maybe that means something.
Look again, it just Curt Schilling, what he said really it makes a lot of sense. It's about execution. It's about getting opportunities and cashing them in. And so far, Boston's been able to do that. In this game so far.
And here's a great opportunity here for Mike Scioscia to do what he does best, which is manage. He talked about it in the 02 World Series that they won. He says it doesn't have to be the best team.
No.
I think on paper we all would agree Boston's a better ball club. It's who's playing the best baseball at that time. Well, for Anaheim to win, Mike Scioscia is going to almost have to be perfect with starting his runners.
Figgins bluffs. Had a good jump, although on Schilling does a good job.
Yeah,
he guys on holding runners on, and he better. The Angels lead the American League with 143 stolen bases.
You can see he doesn't really have the big high leg kick. He throws so hard that it gets to home plate quicker than most people do. But Tony, more importantly, you're a guy that likes to steal bases. I mean, he really does a good job varying his delivery and looks to first base.
He holds the ball sometimes. He's doing here.
Everything but the Louis Tiant shake, right? I imagine Tiant out there for a minute.
And that's to throw your timing off as a base runner. You know, you're trying to anticipate when he's going to make his first move to the plate. And by holding the ball, that interrupts that timing for Sean Figgins.
The other half of what I told you, the Angels led the league in stolen bases. The Red Sox allowed the most, 123. Tantalizing off-speed pitch.
You go now. You go now.
Let me just say one thing. This is not, you say 123. Boy, Veritek must not have an arm. Not the case at all.
No, in this case, too, because Schilling gets rid of the ball pretty quickly. It's more, instead of straight stealing, it's probably going to be a run and hit or hit and run.
He's going. Veritek's throw, and that's a little wide. Safe.
This is all Darren Erstad making his manager look real smart. This is the straight steal here. You knew that Figgins was going to be off and running. If it were a fastball, he might have protected him. But it was an off-speed pitch, and watch what Erstad does. He turns around, he puts the bat in front of Veritek. Look at the late jump Veritek got coming out of the box because he had to stay back in case Erstad put it to bunt down. That created the SB.
How about the effort by Cabrera, almost getting a tag there. Meanwhile, now Erstad trying to hack it. The 3-2 fouls it off. That Erstad's just such a fundamental play. You love to come to watch a guy like this play.
Yeah, he's an old schooler.
Tony, you know that as a manager. I mean, he absolutely froze the catcher with that bat out there in front of him. He couldn't come out and make that throw that he wanted to make because of Erstad knowing how to play winning baseball.
And you know what? If Veritek had a clear look and makes a better throw, he's probably going to get Figgins. But because he couldn't jump out there, throw was on the shortstop side of second.
The appeal by Veritek noses Gary Cedarstrom, the third base up, base on balls. So the Angels, who trail it 1-0 here, in a little bit of business against Curt Schilling, and their crowd knows it in the bottom of the third. Chris Berman, Rick Sutcliffe, Tony Gwynn for ALDS Game 1. And here comes Vlad, his first postseason game. His years in Montreal where he excelled. 40 home run seasons, now has a chance to play on a bigger stage here in the postseason with Anaheim. Swing at the first pitch. And Kapler in right. Figgins can move. Strong throw, but Figgins will get in there.
I'm glad he's been to the plate twice, and he swung at the first pitch both times. You know, first time he flied to left. You know, this ball's out over the plate, maybe on the edge.
Isn't it always there with Schilling on the mound?
Yeah, we saw in his first at bat, he was inside off the edge. This time it's outside off the edge.
I don't know of anybody in the game that has better fastball location than Curt Schilling, both in and out and up and down when he wants it.
Runners on the corners for the Angels. Sean Figgins at third. Darren Erstad at first, and Garrett Anderson is up.
It's going to be interesting to see how Schilling pitches to Anderson here. You know, Anderson's leg's been a little banged up here,
and it's that back leg, which he has always used to get that power to drive the baseball. Well out in front in his first at bat when he popped up to center field. And Tony, you know, I mean, you played for a long time with bad legs as well. I mean, you try to get off of them as quick as you can.
And you try to, your back leg is what enables you to stay back on the ball, and you know, once that weight starts to shift, it's going to go. It's going to keep going forward. And so, you know, in the Oakland series, the A's tried their best to keep the ball away from him. If they made a mistake in the middle, he could still hit it pretty hard, but I'm betting they're going to try to keep the ball away from him. They're not even going to try to pitch him inside.
Ball one away. Figgins jumping around at third. Slow chopper to Cabrera. Makes the play to first to Millar. And so Schilling strands two. The game remains 1-0 Boston. Southern California. The Red Sox have checked into the Hotel California with a 1-0 lead for Curt Schilling on a single by David Ortiz off the glove of a Meziga at second base with 2 out of the first.
I figured it would come a lot sooner than top of the fourth, Tony.
The over-under was an hour, and I beat it. It took an hour 5.
Well, right now, you know these Boston Red Sox want to beat this baseball. Schilling with some tremendous pitches to get out of that jam in the bottom of the third. They're looking for that cushion now to give him.
Side load Ortiz, 3-0 to the big fella.
How about this guy here? Released now by Minnesota.
Terry Ryan, the GM, is very upfront. He's one of the best. Think about what he's done with Minnesota, what he has to work with, i.e. budget. He said, yeah, we know Ortiz is a good player, but we just didn't think he'd be that. Obviously, he wouldn't have been released.
Well, he was always hurt.
One mistake that we really made in evaluating, and they've done a heck of a job, Minnesota.
Yeah, they have.
We would like that one back. But they haven't made money. Ortiz joins his, welcomed his old twin teammate, Doug Mankiewicz, one of those trades made on July 31st by Theo Epstein.
You have to give Ortiz credit, though. He took the opportunity and, didn't start out playing for the Red Sox that much last year, but when he got the opportunity, he really played well. And
it wasn't even on the All-Star ballot last year.
This is pop foul by Kevin Millar. Well, I mean, he got playing.
Huh.
So last year he hit 31 homers, 101 ribbies.
Finished
this year 41 homers.
In the American League and the MVP. And Tony, I got to figure he's in the top probably 4 this year.
Absolutely.
You know, one thing about it, though, is that he does not run well, that being Ortiz.
Ripped to left by Millar. Back. Good! We told you after a quiet first few months in the power department for Kevin Millar that he really turned it up. And he just sat on that pitch by Washburn. 3-0 Boston.
Boomer, Ortiz hit 41 home runs this year, as you talked about. He only scored 94 runs. The reason he doesn't run very fast, the reason that Kevin Millar only had 74 RBIs this year. But when you hit it that far, he doesn't have to run.
Right.
I was just getting ready to say the Red Sox hitters are really making Washburn throw strikes. Showing a lot of patience up there. And Millar got something that he could handle, drove it out of the ballpark. And then 1-0 lead turns to a 3-0 lead. And the job for the Anaheim Angels all of a sudden got a whole lot tougher with those 2 runs right there.
Look at Kevin. Now he's got the frosted with goatee. Before that he had frosted. He had the clear shaven cue ball look for a while.
You know who I blame for all that, though? Remember before he went to Florida who he played for? The St. Paul Saints. You know who owns that team?
Yeah.
Is Bill Murray.
Our friend.
You know that somewhere along the line, Bill has had an impact on this guy. As he has all of us.
Yes, he has. Probably watching right now. Big sports fan that he is.
Glad I put my cell phone up. I don't want to hear what he has to say.
Oh, we'll hear it. 1-2 to Veritek, who rips it to left, and that plunks in front of Devaney.
You're going to hear that telephone ring down there in that Anaheim Angel bullpen.
Well, Jared Washburn, we mentioned that he missed about 8 starts. Just coming back off the DL at the beginning of September. And his last 5 starts, he hadn't gone that deep. 5, 6. Now with his bullpen, that's one thing, but he hasn't. He's lost some of his juice around this 4th, 5th, 6th inning since he's come back with shoulder and a kind of a chest injury.
Boomer, I think he lost a little bit of that adrenaline that he had going. Watching Curt Schilling go through the heart of the order, getting Vladimir Guerrero to fly out to right, and then the ground ball to short by Garrett Anderson. I mean, Curt Schilling went through their big boys when they had a chance to break it open. Boston right now is doing that on their own.
So 3 straight base runners here for Boston. Here in the 4th, shortstop Orlando Cabrera fouled out to Erstad, who made a nice play down the right field line earlier. Cabrera and Vladimir Guerrero, longtime teammates with the Expos, each with a chance to shine in the postseason against each other.
Well, each one of those guys have paid their dues, Vladdy and Cabrera. They played on some talented teams in Montreal, but they find themselves in different places now. Cabrera with the Red Sox, Guerrero with the Angels. And here they are both in the playoffs. Just think it's just ironic.
Well, we talked a little bit about Montreal beforehand with Cabrera. He says, I really feel bad for everybody up there. I said it all week. We'll just say it one more time. Have nothing to do with Washington. Shame on baseball. They sold out Montreal, in my opinion. I think that would have been a vibrant franchise, a little 30, 31,000 seat stadium downtown. I mean, the Big O is awful. You can't get there. I think they had a chance to make little baseball work, a la Minnesota or something like that. They just waited and given them some support. They didn't. Baseball's gone. I just think that, again, Washington, welcome back to baseball, but Montreal, it would have been great, and I think if it wasn't Canada, you'd hear more about it. If it wasn't French, you would hear more about it. I think baseball should be ashamed of themselves, in my opinion.
You know, when I looked at Vladimir Guerrero there, Tony, I couldn't help but think of Andre Dawson.
Yeah.
And nobody really knew anything about the Hawk until he got out of there and put on that Cub uniform. The same thing just happened to that man.
Yep.
3-1 pitch to Cabrera. And he will walk. So Washburn now struggling.
A couple of things will happen now. One, somebody in that dugout will make a phone call to the bullpen. And 2, Bud Black will go out there and try to earn his money and get Jarrett Washburn to settle down and get out of this jam.
I think from the Red Sox standpoint here, it wouldn't surprise me at all if Billy Miller's up there to drop a bunt. Get these guys in scoring position where they can add another run to this 3-0 lead now.
You know, and another thing too, when you've got that lead, as you mentioned, Tony, I start thinking maybe even a little bit more aggressive for Terry Francona with that hit and run. He told us in the manager's meeting, he said it's just almost impossible to do with Washburn because he says the runner gets such a late start with the left-hander with just a man on first that the infielders don't even move, so you don't have a hole to hit it through. A little different story here now, and Veritek, even though he's a catcher, he's second on the Boston team with 10 stolen bases this year.
And there is no real bottom of their order. I mean,
No.
Bill Miller won a batting title a year ago. He's hitting 8th. Kapler can swing the bat 9, and then there's Damon, who drove in over 90 runs, coming up at the top of the order.
Yeah, without a left-hander on the mound, it's Trot Nixon in there instead of Kapler. So you're right.
Well, the infielders Erstad and Figgins pinching in just on the edge of the grass, suspecting what you guys just talked about. You know, everything is magnified at best of 5, so every game, every win, etc. But it's also Kurt Schilling that you're going up against.
Yeah.
So how much can you let this go here at 3-0, whereas in the regular season, you hope Washburn, if your social pitches at him. How long do you let it go, guys?
Well, if you look at the rest of the numbers, this game's over with.
Yeah.
In his 11 postseason appearances, only one time has he allowed more than 2 earned runs. So you don't even need more offense. All you got to do is catch the ball for him.
Yeah, Washburn doesn't think it's over. He gets Miller frozen there on strike 3, an important first down.
And then on the other side, as you see, Washburn really locate that fastball in the inside corner. From Boston's standpoint, you got Schilling on the mound and you got a 3-0 lead. You're feeling pretty confident. And I just think that this is the playoffs. Yeah, you feel confident, but you got opportunities to maybe add to the lead, put more runs on the board. So I was kind of surprised there that, they didn't bunt the runners up and give the 9-hitter Kapler and the 1-hitter Damon a chance to maybe increase the lead.
And maybe force Mike Scioscia to go to the bullpen. You bring in the right-hander, which is all he has in the bullpen. Now you get Trot. I don't know. I might have managed a little bit there.
So Gabe Kapler up with 2 aboard. Breaking ball in there for a strike.
With all of the stats, Boomer, we have these days, I think they need a statistic on how many times a pitching coach goes to the mound and the next guy makes an out. I mean, Bud Black went out there and said something. Whatever he said, it obviously worked in that last at bat.
He's one of the best at his craft, don't you agree?
Yep.
Sharp hit to right. You know about Guerrero's arm. He's going to try for a force out at second. Your basic 9-6 attempt.
And that's his old teammate. Anybody else, Tony, he might have got him, but he got handcuffed a little bit because the ball skipped right up on him at the last second. And two, Cabrera, you know you've seen him do that and try that. He's been the guy at second base taking that throw.
Yep. Well, nice hitting by Kapler. He doesn't try to pull that ball, goes with it. Guerrero got handcuffed and still. I mean, pretty good throw.
Like softball, sometimes you get thrown out from there, but sheesh. Meanwhile, what did we say at the beginning? Damon was 0 for 2. I think he's the key player in the series for the Red Sox. He's certainly the key player in this game if he can deliver a couple of runs. Looks at a strike from Washburn, who's handled him on a pop-up and a strikeout.
So that 1 for 19 turns to 1 for 21, and he's got the chance to break this thing open. And if you go up to the plate thinking, hey, I'm due, this is it.
Runners in scoring position. He had 355 during the year, although, as you mentioned, against Washburn, not the case. You're right, that last at bat, he looked like he didn't really.
Just kind of feeling for it. Yeah, and that's usually what happens when you're facing a guy that you haven't had a lot of success. You don't see the ball nearly as well. This is an opportunity for him to really blow this game open.
And as you mentioned, to get off a personal schneid, right? Well, again, kind of just the wave of the bat, Tony, huh?
And this is a situation where it doesn't take a base hit to have some success. A sac fly, you know, a force out anywhere but home, and you get the job done. You get a run in. And sure, you'd like to get the hit.
A rare opportunity to fail, make an out, and yet still succeed by driving in a run.
That is correct.
Up top, 2-2. Meanwhile, the sack's full of socks. Veritek, your runner at third. You see the numbers Tony and Sutter talking about. 1 for 21. But
and both guys know, too. Pitcher knows, hitter knows.
To the left side, Figgins double clutches, throws wild. Veritek scores. Cabrera to the plate. He'll score. 5-0 Boston. So Mike Scioscia's defense has let him down. They had a play at the plate, but they had trouble getting the ball out of the glove. He double clutched right away.
He just looked nervous to me.
Yeah, and the other thing, I think he kind of surprised Molina, even double clutching and coming to the plate. See, Damon doesn't try to pull, he goes with it. See, Molina was kind of late getting to the plate, but just threw it away.
So the Angels, the sloppy ones thus far. Washburn's gone. Kurt Schilling with a 5-0 lead, and the Red Sox are not done. Figgins at third base.
I think right off the bat, Tony, in the very beginning, the first ball hit to him by Manny Ramirez. He just was unsure of himself there. You can see how shaky he is there. He doesn't know whether to come in, doesn't know whether to go back. He gets set. He takes a crow hop. He could have taken 3 crow hops and still had time to make the throw to home plate. If you know it's Johnny Damon that hit that ball, you're not going to get the double play. I mean, this young man right now just simply can't slow things down.
Yeah, and that's a great description of what just happened. Can't slow down, trying to do things too quickly, throws the ball away, 2-run score.
Scott Shields with 1 T in the first name has been one of the main. Could look at 8-2 out of the bullpen, but at this point he's really just trying to choke things off if he can against Mark Bellhorn and then Manny Ramirez. 2 runners in scoring position, infield in, and already 5-0. Inside, you know, very quickly, you're right. They now will read 1 for 22, Damon against Washburn, but something good out of something bad, right?
Something positive.
Everyone on the grass and way inside again is Shields.
He's really been one of the unsung heroes for the Angels this year. As you mentioned, Boomer, 8 victories for Shields. He's on right now to try to get out of this jam. And, you know, it wouldn't surprise me. Mike Scioscia may run him back out there for one more inning. But after that, he'll turn it over to some of those starters, knowing that Curt Schilling looks to have settled in.
Maybe Ortiz, maybe somebody like that, right?
Anyway, you're not going to use this guy for more than an inning or two because this guy, he's too valuable. You may need him tomorrow. And, you know, that's the whole game plan for the Angels. They want to turn this into a series of bullpens.
3-1 now to Bellhorn. He swings through that. You know, on paper, and you don't play games on paper. Somebody once said that's why they play the games. But Schilling, Washburn, okay, on paper advantage. But tomorrow, Martinez, Cologne, that's why save bullpen. Got to win 3 games last time I checked to move on. And this is only halfway done. Bellhorn pops it out of play.
You know, you think back to that 0-2 series when the Angels did so well. I mean, they lost the first game in a lot of those things and went on. They regrouped and came back out and were able to go on and capture a world championship. They're going to have to get through that, man, though, tomorrow if they plan on doing it here.
Well, they're going to have to play a lot better defense tomorrow. I mean, already they put themselves in a hole. 3 of the.
Yeah, Bellhorn doing what he does a lot. And that's striking out Kyle Peterson on where perhaps Figgins has moved around so much that he doesn't really have a home, huh?
Yeah, guys, Sean Figgins coming into the season was a utility guy, but with the injuries to this Anaheim Angels team, he's been forced to play 6 different positions over the course of the year. Now, the position he's played the most is third base. He's got 82 starts over the course of the year. But Mike Scioscia's decision coming into this game was, do we go with the defensive lineup in that, Figgins at third and Amezaga at second, or do we go with the offensive lineup and put McPherson at third? So far, that defensive lineup hasn't quite worked out so well.
Kyle, thank you. Just so used to seeing Troy Glaus through the years, who fields so beautifully over there at third base, and of course his hitting speaks for itself. But Angels are undermanned, and we haven't even discussed, which we will coming up, the Jose Guillen situation where he's not with the ball club. Meanwhile, Manny Ramirez with 2 runners in scoring position. 1-0 pitch. Drives this to center. Back goes Garrett Anderson. Back he goes. Back. Gone! The Red Sox doing it all in this inning. A touchdown and add the extra point, a 7 spot here in the 4th. 3-run shot, Manny Ramirez, 8-0 Boston.
Well, you talk about a beautiful swing. Shields makes a mistake, leaves this ball on the inner half. Look at that position. Head down, good extension.
Think he enjoys an 8-run lead?
I think so. I think the whole bench did. You didn't see guys jumping around. They looked pretty composed, and like they fully expected to come in here and start taking care of business starting today.
Well, this is the 2nd time up as you look at Washburn, who can only watch in helplessness as relief not provided by Scott Shields, at least on this afternoon. Manny Ramirez, another one of the many hairstyles. Certainly there aren't too many that hit like him. That he's one of just a few. David Ortiz began this inning with a walk. He's up for the 2nd time.
Terry Francona, their manager, looking at a lot of those hairstyles, said that's the first time he's ever not been ashamed of the fact that he's bald.
Well, you noticed it, Sud, on the pregame where they introduced everybody beforehand and then the national anthem, everybody had their hats off. Now, we just looking at the first 10 guys in the lineup for Boston on the foul line. It was a free-for-all as far as the top of the head goes. Ortiz began it with a walk, scored. He ends it with a ground out to Amezaga, but not until 2 homers and 7 runs, making 8-0 Boston. They're shell-shocked, as are the Anaheim Angels, who steamrolled in September, but now all of a sudden they're looking up at an 8-0 deficit. Tonight, our friends on Fox, the other American League Series begins. Yohan Santana, 20-game winner against Mike Mussina. That That game at 8 Eastern on Fox, and then we'll tell you about our triple-header tomorrow after this batter. This is Troy Glaus, who had a stand-up double to lead off the second. And he leads this off with a launcher way back. Gone, and the Angels on the board. Whoa, Nelly.
He got all of that.
Well, when he's healthy, he does that about 45 times a year. You know that he's motivated, a free agent at the end of the year, trying to prove to people that he is back. Well, his bat is back. Not able to play defense as of yet, but when healthy, Tony, he's the complete deal.
Yeah, no question. I mean, that's a beautiful swing right there. Wow. 1-0, Schilling trying to throw a strike.
And Manny out there in left field. I don't want to say he did a Yaz. That was my favorite. Yaz at home in the Green Monster would stay in that crouch, and when the ball was launched, he wouldn't even get out of the crouch. And the pitchers weren't. He didn't endear himself to the pitchers. Manny kind of turned around. I don't think he moved very far. It was no need
just give me a couple of steps in that.
Right?
When I give up one like that, I feel bad enough without seeing you staring at me like I'm an idiot.
Make a couple.
I mean, just take a couple of steps. Like maybe. Okay, no.
Well, yeah, maybe if there's a hurricane coming in. But he took like one. Hey, goodbye. Jeff Devannon. I mean, I'm talking when Yaz and he wouldn't. I mean, because he always had the glove and the hand on the knees. He wouldn't even stand up. He was like a quarterback behind center.
Well, he knew that wall like the back of his hand.
That was his way of letting people know he knows how to play that wall. And if
it's 40 feet over, you don't need to run.
No need.
And a quick shovel over to Schilling by Millar. So let's see if Matt actually gave him a pitcher. Yeah, he did, shot. You would have been okay with it.
Perfect. He took 2-3 steps.
I'm sure I only. All right.
Well, you know why he turned around? He too wanted to see how far that ball went.
I went over both bullpens.
Yeah.
Into the seats.
That's a blast. He gave it a pitcher's effort. I said I called him out incorrectly.
Schilling's going to give you a lot of pitches to hit right now. The last thing that he wants to do is walk anybody.
Yeah.
If you're going to give up homers, might as well do it with an 8-run lead and nobody on.
Nobody on. That's exactly right. Because he does not, like Rick said, he doesn't want to walk people. Doesn't want to pitch behind. He wants to throw strikes. So.
Strike to Benji Molina. 1-1.
Schilling's last start came on September the 26th when they knew the situation at hand. They wanted to make sure that he had plenty of rest. And you know, sometimes with a young guy, I mean, you'll get a little bit out of sorts. Your command will suffer, but he's been around long enough. He knows how to keep himself sharp. And well, he started right off in the bottom of the first inning with that strikeout.
Molina doesn't nibble there. Way, it's 2-2. A home run laden fourth inning. Millar with a shot to left, 2-run. Ramirez a shot to center, 3-run, and then Glaus with a bomb solo for Anaheim.
Last two pitches here by Schilling have been some kind of off-speed pitch, split finger, maybe a little breaking ball, and just neither one has been close to the plate. You know, if you're Kurt Schilling, you still want to try to stay in rhythm, still try to throw strikes. Let your defenders help you.
Right back up the middle. Cabrera, how about that play? Man! And by the way, got him by 2 steps. I know it's the catcher.
Yeah, he knew who was running.
Man!
Cabrera ranged a long way up the middle.
It was just a matter of whether he could get there or not.
Yep, that was the only question.
He knew when he got it. Right there, he knew who was running. He said, I'll just kind of roll it over there to Millar. He comes up with the little one hopper, and then eventually Benji Molina got into the picture.
That gives him a nice long hop throw to first base.
For a half dozen years in Montreal, they've been saying Sacre Bleu on plays like that. That was just beautiful.
Well, and you know who has to feel better about that than even Cabrera or Kurt Schilling? Has got to be Theo Epstein.
Oh, yeah. Well, when Cabrera first came, and Theo and I, we dialogued on Cabrera a bit. A guy that we've had our eye on in Montreal for years. We go up there, watch some of the games. And he was trying to make a triple play on every ground ball. He came into Boston, made a lot of errors right away. I mean, it was as if they finally said, no one wants you to be Nomar. And these are plays you make in your sleep. He started with a home run at first at bat with Boston, but then he couldn't field. He was trying to really make unassisted triple plays, which you know the feeling as a hitter and you know the feeling as a pitcher, right? So his best suit, fielding, was letting him down for about 2 weeks. I think those jitters are gone.
Yeah, I think so.
Popped up by Eckstein. Millar in foul ground. And after the home run by Glaus, Schilling settles in. And through 4 here in Anaheim. 8-1 Red Sox. One here, Red Sox, they're a 7-run fourth. Look, Houston's playing unbelievable, and hats off to them. Obviously, the Dodgers, we haven't heard the end of them, the way they win in the 9th inning all the time. And the year that no one's mentioned Atlanta. Oh, by the way, the Braves are in the postseason. But I just think, isn't it about time that a team that's the best record for 6 months makes the World Series, and that would be St. Louis? I just would be surprised if they don't get there.
Yeah, I would be too. They demonstrated all year long that they were the best team and won their division easily.
Erstad fields that himself, and Kevin Millar, who homered, is gone. But the last inning, this is what he did. The shot to left field. 2-run homer made it 3-0, and then a 2-run, 2-base throwing error by Sean Figgins, and then Manny Ramirez. A powder keg to center field off the rocks. And the 7 runs fitting in Boston. That the New England Patriots go for a record 19 straight wins in the NFL. That the Red Sox set a franchise record by scoring a touchdown in the 4th inning.
And an extra point.
Yes. And set a new record for them.
Well, Mike Scioscia talked about pitching to this lineup and how dangerous it is. He calls it safe zones. They really don't have any safe zone that you can consistently go to. And what he talks about that is with your fastball.
Yep.
Tony, they can hit the fastball,
yep,
particularly when it's in the K zone.
Yep. Yeah, you gotta hit your spots against this club, and there's some really good hitters on that team, and so you can't afford to make mistakes. And the Red Sox have taken advantage of their defensive miscues, and they've taken advantage of some pitches that are in the middle of the plate, and they did what they're supposed to do.
Molina will throw out Veritek, so he strikes out against Shields. 3 games tomorrow here on ESPN. We've got them all. The Astros and Braves. That's the division series that starts the extra day later. And how good are the Astros going? Roger Clemens' stomach virus can't pitch on Sunday, so he gets to lead off the playoffs against the Braves. I'll have that for you at 4. The Twins and Yankees at Yankee Stadium. Game 2 at 7. And we'll be right here at 10 Eastern, 7 on the West Coast, 4 in Hawaii for Game 2 of the Angels and the Red Sox. That would be the nightcap of our triple-header on ESPN. So, have you ever heard that word before, nightcap?
From you, yeah.
No, stop it. There's a reason I see you in April and not again to October.
You know what? Watching those Houston Astros and how they wrapped that thing up, and being in that clubhouse when Roger Clemens came in Sunday and couldn't go. I mean, in the trainer's room, hooked up to IVs. I mean, everything is starting to go their direction. They've got the same kind of lineup that Boston does. Now Clemens will be healthy on more than normal rest. You can throw Oswald out there on normal rest. And Boomer, what they found Sunday, they found another starting pitcher in Brandon Backey. He stepped up and did well.
Well, Cabrera, who made that fine play in the field, gets a walk, and that's it. How about, is this 1997 with the Indians? Jarrett Wright, the year that he had, By the way, this just in. Bobby Cox, a pretty good manager.
Yes.
13 straight divisions. Clemens and Jarrett Wright. That's our first game.
2,000 career wins at the big league level for Bobby Cox.
Russ is at that mark as well. Fly ball to center by Billy Millar. Squeezed by Garrett Anderson. Cabrera left on with a walk. 8-1 Boston. The water here at Anaheim flowing for the Red Sox. 8-1 against Curt Schilling. They say the Angels have their work cut out for them. Would be an understatement.
Going to the bench already for Mike Scioscia. Dallas McPherson will pinch hit here for a Mezga.
Wow, they have these rally monkeys. In this case, it should be a rally gorilla, orangutan, gibbon. But they didn't come here to say, okay, we lost.
I know.
You never know. I know.
When you look at these two teams and you know, the injuries that the Angels have had, how remarkable it is that they're here to begin with. I mean, this is David and Goliath all over again, particularly with Schilling on the mound.
How about this as a baseball name? And you see in the bullpen, more action. Kevin Gregg, one of those righties, well, they're all righties. How about this for a baseball name? Dallas McPherson. Or a football. It's definitely a sports name.
He's a big guy. I know that. He walked by us this morning when we were going to see Mike Scioscia. Big, strong guy.
Just recently voted the minor league player of the year by a couple of people. Left-handed power guy. And Tony, I know you love this. A lot of his power is to that opposite field.
Got a chance to see him at the Futures game earlier this year too.
Little chopper wide.
The question today was for Mike Scioscia was did they start McPherson at third and move Figgins to second, or go with the lineup he went with? He went with a defensive lineup, and honestly that lineup's let him down today. So
now he rips that one to right, and it's just foul. That was more like Fort Worth. It wasn't quite Dallas, so it was a foul. Yikes.
Schilling, one of his rare misses. That ball's supposed to be outside. Again, you saw his ability, Schilling's ability to turn it up a notch when he needs to. He went for the inside corner there at 96 miles per hour, missed.
Schilling gets the youngster to go fishing. Strikeout here for the Angels here. Schilling in the fifth.
Well, I think you're going to see this bat in the lineup tomorrow. Pedro Martinez on the mound. They're going to have to do everything they can to score runs. And really the key right now in the big lead is because the lack of defense and, you know, some indecision, Tony, on the part of Sean Figgins.
Yep.
The error that they should have given him in the first inning, they did not. That led to a run, and then the throwing error there in the fourth inning led to 3 more runs. Curt Schilling on the mound, you're talking ball game.
Schilling with just 3 strikeouts, the last one, so they're not going that mode thus far. He has 2,745 in his career. That's 18 on the all-time list. And only 12 have got the 3,000.
I don't think he wants any this time of the year, Boomer. He's throwing a lot of innings. He's planning on pitching for the next month. He'll take fly balls like that all afternoon.
Kapler in at right makes the grab, and there's 2 down. It's a new season with new dreams. All new season of ESPN's Dream Job, the search for the next Sports Center anchor. Every Tuesday at midnight on ESPN, get to know this season's contestants. You can log on to ESPN.com, search Dream Job. For more information, log on to ESPN.com. What a thrill.
Tony, I
kind of got my dream job, but it didn't go through that show.
I got to feel like we won that.
That's exactly right.
Beautiful day, postseason, Boomer.
Yep.
I'm in. Where do I sign up?
I'm hip.
You did. They didn't tell you? You signed on forever.
I'm in.
Yeah, we're all very fortunate. You know that. Wake up every day thinking about that. Darren Erstad, the young man from North Dakota, one-time member of the Nebraska Cornhuskers National Championship football team when he was a punter and kicker.
1994.
10 years ago, college football. Oh, by the way, he was obviously a great Big 8 baseball player. Has a lot of not only school but league records. Baseball, football from North Dakota to Nebraska to Anaheim.
Well, this is his time of the year, too. A 350 career average in the postseason. Been on base both times. Got a stolen base already here this afternoon. Back to first base. Doing an outstanding job defensively there. Started out his big league career at first base when they had Tim Salmon, Garrett Anderson, and remember Jimmy Edmonds in the outfield?
Yep. Erstad the other way. Miller had him shaded over toward the hole, and Erstad just such a good piece of hitting with a base hit. And you're saying, well, what part of the country does he not know about? Well, we said Nebraska, North Dakota. We have Anaheim as Vlad comes up. Erstad played a summer and was MVP of the Cape Cod League. So he knows what he's getting into going into Boston here this week. A great place, a developmental place for youngsters, Tony and Sut. See, there's the rally gorilla. They mean business here in Anaheim.
They need this guy to go deep here to get this crowd back into that ball game and those thunder sticks going.
They need him to not swing at the first pitch, maybe. Nah, he didn't.
It's a strike, and he's not real happy with the call. It's been more than a couple today that the hitter has not been happy with.
But consistent, yeah, right? Zone. Larry Young behind the plate. You get inside and he chopped that toward the photographer.
You get Kurt Schilling on the mound. To me, that's like, you know, having Dean Smith or Phil Jackson being the coach. I mean, these officials know. These home plate umpires, they realize, I mean, Kurt Schilling by design is going to throw something in the strike zone, and you anticipate that, and he does probably get more borderline pitches than most.
Foul that off. 70% of the pitches this year from Schilling were strikes. That's not all umpire zone now.
Yeah, and I think it works the other way too. If you're, a hitter known for knowing the strike zone, I think you get a call every now and then. But Manny Ramirez came up in the first inning and was called out on strikes, not the first, in the third inning, and was called out on strikes. He thought it was down, and Larry Young was pretty consistently called that ball down a strike.
And Guerrero strikes out there against Schilling. 2 Ks for Schilling this inning. The Red Sox in cruise mode, 8-1. As far for today's baseball, in the team that plays in the home of Budweiser, St. Louis, who pounded the Dodgers. 5 homers, 2 by Larry Walker, and good pitching by Woody Williams. And thus far, the Red Sox doing some pounding themselves, leading it 8-1. Dallas McPherson stays in the game and will hit 9th, of course, and be at third base. Figgins moves to second.
He kind of looks like Troy Glaus down there at third.
Yeah, he does.
Quite as tall.
And Kevin Gregg you're seeing on the mound. And leaping at third, a hello, says McPherson. You ain't hitting over my head. And why is it as soon as you get in, the ball finds you?
That's baseball. You come in off that bench and you're like a magnet. You try to hide you all over the place, and that baseball has a way of finding you.
You think too, Figgins is only about what, 5'8", 5'9", and McPherson at 6'5". I don't know if Figgins makes that play.
I don't think he does.
Kapler's going, so you got to make that change now?
Yeah.
So that was a defensive replacement there we had.
Johnny Damon now with Washburn out of there. He's lacing it to right field. Guerrero up with it, and Damon's going to challenge the arm. Safe.
Oh, he made up his mind that that was going to be 2 immediately, didn't
As
he?
soon as he left the batter's box.
And I think you got to give some credit as well to the scouting report. Boston knows that right now Vladimir Guerrero's knees aren't what they once were. He was having all kinds of trouble, Tony, getting set, and there wasn't near as much on that throw as if he could have gotten his body set and had that support underneath him.
Well, the key thing is that Guerrero's going away from the base that he has to throw to. You hear Damon sliding into second base. And with him going away from second base, his only chance is to try to plant his feet and make a good throw, which he did. Just didn't have enough steam on it to get Damon at second.
Now, look, I know it's 8-1, and that's, but you're going to see that from him. Washburn has his number, but this is what you're going to see with him. You know, the rest of the series.
Tony, we did hear him sliding into the bag.
Yeah, we did.
That was great.
We got microphones in those things. What do we got here?
Hear that? You can hear that knee pounding into second base and give our fans a chance to hear what that sounds like.
Where is that thing?
There's a little guy holding a microphone.
Is that how they do it in the Secret Service? The FBI? Is that what they do? Little mic somewhere?
Yep.
Oh, I see.
A little sneaky. They were up here early too, getting all that stuff ready. I'm just thinking Johnny Damon. First pitch he saw, lines it down the right field line, makes up his mind he's going to get to second base. Challenges Guerrero in right field, beats the play. Again, the Red Sox have another opportunity.
Bellhorn swings through that. And he walks or strikes out, and that's he did the former in that case. And guess who's up now with 2 on again? Kevin Gregg knows.
He also knows he's got nowhere to put him with men on first and second, and he can't pitch around him because Ortiz is in the on-deck circle.
Is it 1-0 to Manny? Doubled and scored the first run of the game, struck out looking, and then an absolute bomb. Deep left center. Put this thing out of reach. 3-run shot. Erstad, foul ground, makes the catch. Everybody back. Aerial coverage today, courtesy of the Goodyear Tire and Rubber Company. Its fleet of airships travel with peace of mind on Goodyear's new Assurance tires.
Well, Rick, you mentioned it earlier. I think Erstad playing center field has really helped him at first base. He got back on that ball easily, was under it, caught it, knew where the runners were.
He's just so athletic.
Yeah, it's just really impressive how quickly he's really kind of mastered first base.
Made 2 of those plays today, one a little farther down the line. Plus, we know this, Tony, as David Ortiz in, if the Angels need a coffin corner punt, he's your guy.
Well, the way it's going today, it doesn't look like it'll be today. It might have to be another game, but it's the Red Sox with the touchdown lead right now.
In there for a strike. Ortiz singled in the first run off the glove of Meziga at second base. Walked and was aboard on Millar's 2-run homer in the 4th, and then came up again in the 4th and ended the inning grounding to second base. It's just, for Boston fans, I know that, they immediately with the physique and everything, you think Mo Vaughn, a guy that went from Boston out here to Anaheim, although never really a lot of things happened right away, injured right away at Anaheim. But I look at David Ortiz and look here at the view from the park, and I think back to another era, and I think of a lefty, George Scott,
Yeah.
The original Boomer, who used to hit taters.
I can see that.
George Scott was a good fielding first baseman.
George Scott was right-handed.
Yes, I said as a lefty,
yeah.
George Scott.
And that's, yeah, exactly.
One of my favorites. Under this one, Jeff DeVannen calls for it in left center. 2 runners stranded by Greg. So we head now bottom 6 in Southern California, but more beautiful if you're a Red Sox fan rather than an Angels fan. 7-run fourth at Boston. This open for Curt Schilling. They're now in the bottom of the 6th with an 8-1 lead. Garrett Anderson, Troy Glaus, Jeff DeVannen hoping against hope. If they can get something scratchy, get something going for the Angels. We'll be back at it tomorrow night, a 10 o'clock Eastern, 7 o'clock Pacific start. Bartolo Colon goes for the Angels. And Pedro Martinez, 4 straight subpar outings for him, but a good throw on the side the weekend here in Baltimore. And we'll see what he looks like tomorrow. This is bobbled and then handled by Millar over to Schilling. And there is one. There's Pedro, who made it easy down the stretch for what would have been a debate. Boy, you have Schilling, but isn't Pedro the Red Sox? And should he pitch game 1? Well, the Yankees pounded him and Schilling shut them down. And then Pedro had a rough outing the last week at Tampa Bay. It made it real easy. You know, they debate everything in New England involving the Red Sox, but there was no debate on Schilling over Pedro in game 1.
They can talk about all the good side sessions they want. I can still give you a good side session at 48 years of age. I mean, he did not pitch well the last month of the season, and it made it an easy decision for Terry Francona to start Schilling in game 1.
I wonder what kind of effort Pedro will have. Meanwhile, Colon has had nothing but a sharp effort for the last month. Pitched big in that game. They won 10-0 on Friday night and has pitched big in September. You know, the Angels trying to come from behind, and Glaus has certainly done his share with a double and a solo homer. But Jose Guillen, they had a big season. And in Mike Scioscia's words, telling us before the game, a big reason why we're here. Suspended a week ago Friday by Scioscia for the rest of the regular season and the postseason for tantrum thrown, pulled out pinch runner, throwing helmets. It continued verbally loud in the clubhouse after the game between player and manager. The Players Association doing quite what they had to do to kind of due diligence it. But it was settled 3-4 days, that grievance, pretty quickly, and everybody on the Angels backing the decision by the team, and from the higher up down, supporting Mike Scioscia and his decision from the owner, Artie Moreno, on. And these are his numbers, which on paper you'd want, but you don't want that attitude.
No, you don't. I mean, and I thought it was evident from the time it happened. You never heard anybody on the Angels, any of the players, say anything, you know, that even talked about the situation. They just kind of let it go, decided, you know, that they were going to play baseball. I mean, obviously, Guillen had a big impact on this club on a regular basis, but there's a right way to go about doing things and a wrong way to go about it. And Mike Scioscia felt like he was going about it the wrong way.
And I thought Mike Scioscia handled things perfectly. He did not make that decision. He brought all of his coaches together and asked each one of them what they thought he should do. And to a man, they said, you know, we need to get rid of this guy. I mean, he doesn't seem to want to be here. So what we'll do is, you know, we're going to get rid of him for now. But I love what Mike Scioscia said before the game. He goes, the door's still open.
Yeah.
I would love for him to come back next year. I'd love to patch things up and for him to produce like he did for us. And, you know, Boomer, we got a call before the game. Jose Mota, Manny Mota's oldest son, who does radio here for the Anaheim Angels, came in and he brought a message to me saying that Jose Guillen wanted everybody to know he was watching the game today and supporting his teammates, hoping that they were able to go on and win the World Championship. So, you know, there is a chance that things can come back together, and you just hope so.
Glaus is aboard all 3 times. Base on balls with 1 out brings up Jeff DeVannen. So
right now is where Jose Guillen would be hitting with all those homers and RBIs. And, you know, when you look at this lineup, after that 5th spot, I mean, there's a significant drop-off for Mike Scioscia.
Well, look, he's looking there. Well, wait a minute. I don't have his, so who do I? I don't. Where's? We don't have him. No,
you got Josh Paul. You got Adam Riggs. You got Pride. You got Kochman. No, you don't have the power and threat that Jose Guillen could be.
Nice play, Millar. Cabrera back to Schilling, not in time. Now, wait a minute. Let me get this straight. The Angels, the fielding wizards, the Red Sox not. Pretty well handled over there at first base.
Well, Millar's just had an outstanding day. It was his big home run in the 4th inning that got them off to the bigger lead. And now, instead of just being happy with one, Tony, a lot of first basemen will protect themselves. They'll just flip it to the pitcher going by. He wasn't happy with that. He thought he had a chance to double him up, and they almost did.
And he did. He threw this ball from his knees, made a nice throw to Cabrera. Cabrera going back to Schilling, trying to turn the double play. They almost turned.
Kurt better get out of the way down there first. I mean, Garrett Anderson about ran him over to start this inning, and right there he collides with Devanna.
Benji Molina up. You know, just back to the Guillen for a minute. If they weren't in solidarity on it, I mean, what did they go 6-1 afterwards? Mike Scioscia, you mentioned it, Seth, was very clear. Yes, the door is open for next year. Absolutely. And support from up high right throughout the clubhouse. Ripped to right by Molina. Look at this. Boy, that, well, Gabe Kapler tried to be Vlad Guerrero, make a 9-3 play. And he gets a little look out there from the catcher, Molina.
If he makes a good throw, he's got him.
Yeah, he does.
And Kapler just kind of rushed his throw a little bit, but
Doug Mirabelli and the Red Sox bench going, well, you're paid one, try the play, right?
That's a smart play. You get a runner that doesn't run that well. Kapler's first thought is up and going to first base, and as you see, the throw's high. The throw's down, maybe he got a shot at getting it. I don't think I've ever seen the third out at first base like that, but I've seen the right fielder throw a runner out, but not the third out of an inning.
Eckstein 0 for 2. 2 on here. Crowd trying to help the Angels. They're actually doing a pretty good job here considering the situation.
Well, they've been world champions before. Now they kind of know what to expect and what it takes. Speaking of the fans.
The count. Waving crown.
Schilling's so good at staying away from those big innings, though. He, this year, almost 80% of the time, retired the leadoff hitter. And Tony, isn't that where it all comes? I mean, you give up 3-run homers, and you give up, 5-run innings or 7-run innings as they did. Boston was able to score in the 4th. They start out with a hit or a walk, don't they?
Yep, that's usually how it starts. And what I like about Schilling is just his ability to take a little bit off, put a little bit on. He's
little flare. Kapler's arm will see it again to the plate. Yeah. Devanna holds. Molina and Eckstein aboard, so now the bases are loaded. And maybe, just maybe, the Angels have something left in the bat rack.
Well, David Eckstein was talking about them having that killer instinct, and what that meant was when you fall behind, Tony, they don't give up. You put up 1 run, you put up 2 runs. Ron Renicky knows right now they're 7 runs down. He can't take a chance on Kapler. He puts on the brakes, and now you've got power at the plate.
Yep. And Kapler's the one outfielder that throws the ball very well. Renicky held up Devanna at third, and so now this crowd is trying to get them back in it. Can't try to be greedy. You just got to kind of take whatever they give you.
This is Dallas McPherson, and swinging at the first pitch. Bellhorn, Millar.
And like you said, Kurt Schilling in the toughest spot of the day, Tony, takes a little off.
Still 8-1. Seventh inning stretch. If you're a Red Sox fan, some of them made the trip out here, but certainly the Sea of Red is not for them. It's for the Anaheim Angels. But not today, not against Kurt Schilling, unless a comeback of major proportions. Angel fans will say, well, you know what? Let me think back now to 2002. Check swing Millar off his bat. So they lost game 1 at Yankee Stadium to the Yankees and beat them 3 in a row. They lost game 1 in Minnesota and beat them.
Lost game 1.
Lost game 1 to the Giants here and beat them. So not so fast. Cologne against Martinez tomorrow night, the late game of our triple-header. 10 Eastern, 7 on the West Coast. The Yankee game still going on, which is the game ahead of us. We'll start on ESPN 2, then bring it over to ESPN. You're not going to miss a pitch. Don't worry.
You know, when you bringing that up with the Yankees, I remember some of the players telling me in the World Series that year that after the game, Mike Scioscia came in the clubhouse and, unlike him, was kind of upset and vocal. He goes, I don't even know who you guys were today. I've never seen anybody with so much tension in their defensive plays and in their offensive at-bats. He said, you guys come out tomorrow and play like you've been playing. Well, you know what? There was some tension in that defense early in the ball game. You know, there were some pitches that Washburn made that, you know, he shouldn't have had to have made. He got a little fatigued in that big inning. You know what? I look for them to come out a lot more, I would just say, confident in the ball game tomorrow night.
Well, Kevin Millar has certainly come out confident. He's single to go with his homer. And here's Kyle Peterson with a special guest who has been in these trappings before, Kyle.
Absolutely. Down here with Schilling. And Shonda, we've heard so much about Kurt's preparation heading into games, but heading into a big game like this, what was he like last night?
You know what? He was pretty good, and I was thinking he was too cool, and then all of a sudden he turned into the person I expected him to be. But you know, the Boston fans, nobody can put more pressure on Kurt than he's putting on himself. He knows that this is why he came here, and he was here to win a World Series, and he's not going to stop until that's what he does. That's it. That's what he gets up every morning and comes to the ballpark to do.
Now, when we talked with Terry Francona today, he said, I got here early, and Kurt was already in his uniform at that point. How about day of? Does he have any superstitions that he always goes through?
It was funny when he walked out the door today. I said, you know, I hope they don't ask what you ate, because he had one of everything on the plate, and he does. He leaves 5 hours before the game starts, no matter where it is. So 8 o'clock's pretty early for Kurt. He wants the poem that I write. He makes sure that he gets a good luck from all the kids. I mean, it's ridiculous. The clothes that, you know, he has to have laid out the same thing. So he doesn't vary, and who are we to say anything, because it's working.
You know, a wife of a ball player is not an easy thing. To sit here, you have no control over what goes on. How difficult is it for you to stand here and watch in a game this big?
You know what, I know what he wants, and so having no control, I just want him to do well. I want him to be proud of what he does. And being proud is not enough. He wants to win. So, you know, it's so nice to have a little bit of run lead. It doesn't mean it's a guarantee, but it's much fun to watch a game like that than a 1-0 game, that's for sure.
Well, Shonda, we appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Boomer.
Kyle, thank you, and thank you, Shonda. Up the middle is Orlando Cabrera. Varitek flew out before that to center field, but with Cabrera, 2 walks and now a base hit aboard 3 times. Millar at second. The Red Sox are not done yet, and Millar, I shouldn't say, he's been pinch run for by Doug Mankiewicz, who'll go into play first base. So it's Mankiewicz at second, Cabrera at first, 1 out, and Shonda Schilling, certainly the wife of a ball player, knows, well, it's not over yet. I mean, she's the first to say it, but she knows that Kurt likes to finish what he starts. Now, with this big lead, he may not do that. But in proof of point, as Billy Millar's up, he started his professional career drafted by the Boston Red Sox. A lot of people don't know this. I mean, in Boston they do, but in 1986, he was second-round pick of the Red Sox. Into minors, traded in July of '88 to the Baltimore Orioles, along with Brady Anderson, for Mike Boddicker, who helped Boston win the pennant in '88 and in '90. So it's not like, well, what are they doing? But then Schilling went from Baltimore and was traded on to Houston with Finley and Harnish. Then went on to Philadelphia, where then he pitched in the World Series in '93, including a shutout.
Moving around a lot then. In '91, he went to Houston, as you said. '92 to Philly. I mean, that was a different Curt Schilling than the guy we know now, Tony.
Well, he settled in Philly for quite a while. The Arizona story you guys know, and then but coming back to where he started was important to him. I began in the Red Sox system. I want to finish up here with Boston. Back to '93. Remember that game? Remember Game 5 that he pitched for the Phillies against Toronto? And the reason I bring that up, it was 2-0 shutout. Do you remember the game the night before? 15-14.
Yeah.
And he pitched 2-0. So he's been doing this in the postseason for a long time. Not only Arizona.
That to me, I think Rick's right. When he pitched in Philly, early in Philly, when he was a young pitcher with Houston, he's a different guy. Different.
Didn't have the preparation or the focus that we see now.
And to me, that's what really puts him on a different plane now, is the extra stuff that goes into being a pitcher. I mean, when you look at his stuff, he basically does it with 2 pitches, fastball, split finger. But his knowledge of the hitters, his knowledge of the umpires, his knowledge of himself is so good now that he's raised. That's why these older pitchers, these guys who have been around for a while, Randy Johnson's, the Roger Clemens, Curt Schillings, can continue to have this kind of success because of the preparation.
Bill Millar flew out to center, and that'll bring up Kapler. This is Schilling pregame doing his homework. Not the New York Times crossword puzzle.
We know that he's the history buff. We know that his dad Cliff was in the Army, and he talks about it. He has a plan of attack for every single hitter that he knows he's going to have to face, and it doesn't hurt anything to write that down, because sometimes you forget a detail or a certain guy, you don't know exactly what you want to do. He has it all right there in front of him, and instead of memorizing it, I think Curt Schilling has the ability to internalize it.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's exactly right. I think he just writes it down just for his sake. I think he already knows what he wants to do and how he wants to do it.
Well, case in point about the maturity. All right, now his first dozen or 10 years in the bigs, the most wins he had in one season was 17. At 34 was 2001, 22-6, and we know about that postseason. At 35, he was 23-7 with Arizona. 37, he's 21-6 with the Red Sox. 3 20-win seasons, Sutton, in 4 years. The first one coming at 34 years of age. Pretty impressive.
Yeah, a lot of guys that put up those kind of numbers, Boomer, this time of year get a little bit tired. Somehow Curt Schilling has the ability to get even better.
It's kind of a weak bouncer that Molina couldn't get in front of, and Greg bounces it, and Mankiewicz, the pinch runner, over to third.
I don't know if he was able to see that baseball real clear. You see the shadow starting to get out there in front of home plate. We're talking about a Gold Glove kind of guy, and a guy that's real difficult to get balls by. Molina looked like he might have been crossed up a little bit.
I mean, the way he attacked that with his glove, he tried to turn it over and backhand it.
At third, McPherson. Over to Erstad. Kapler gone. Red Sox strand 2. 7th inning stretch time here in Anaheim. 8-1 Boston. And the Yankees game 2, 7. And then we'll be here for the last of the triple-header. The Red Sox and Angels at game number 2. 8-1 all Boston. So on this day that was never happened before in Southern California, the Dodgers and the Angels in the postseason at the same time, playing back-to-back games. 8 is not their magic number. St. Louis beats the Dodgers 8-3. Angels behind the Red Sox 8-1. So there'll be better days. And look, that both of these teams just stormed in at the end. And but not the day that they wanted to write about and think about here. Doug Mankiewicz stays in at first. Now, there is history between these two franchises, and you know where we're going. In 1986, one out away the Angels from going to their first World Series. And everybody knows this one. Dave Henderson's 2-run homer, which gave the Red Sox a 6-5 lead in Game 5. They went on back and won the game and went on to Boston to win Game 6 and Game 7. But what people forget, off of Donnie Moore and the tragic ending of his life as a result partly of that, what people forget in 1986 about that game, there was a lot more to it than that. That did not win the game, by the way, for the Red Sox. That did not. And we're going to show you some of what happened. Earlier in the game,
Bobby's 7-year Grinch hit a ball off of Henderson's glove for a home run to make it 5-2. In the ninth, Don Baylor, once an MVP with the Angels, made it 5-4. And then, of course, you saw that it was 6-5. But at the bottom of the ninth, Rob Wilfong scores Rupert Jones ahead of Dewey Evans. It was 6-6. And the Red Sox didn't go to the 11th until Baylor scored on Dave Henderson's sacrifice fly. So Hendu, almost the GOAT, then the hero. Boston goes on to win game 6-7. And the Angels, who were so close to go to the World Series in '82 and in '79, one away, couldn't do it. But there was a lot to that game. Many in extra innings. What was it? I think Gritch was on first, or DeCinces. There was talk back and forth. I think Buckner and Gritch said, "Is this not one of the best games that you've ever been involved with?" And absolutely. And
kind of funny for me to see Don Baylor in a Red Sox jersey. You know, I think about him. He was the only MVP that the Anaheim Angels have ever had back in '79 until maybe this year.
Well, and then just it's interesting how as Figgins, and that's what Sutton is talking about, of course, and we'll see the votes are in, and nothing that happens in the postseason influences a vote. They're in. They just don't announce it until after everything is over. He can win it. Ramirez can win it. Gary Sheffield could certainly win it. Ortiz can win it. I would say Guerrero would be your favorite.
But
back to that,
what's influenced this game has been the control that Curt Schilling has had over Vladimir Guerrero. Had some opportunities to do some things. He's had some men on his last 2 at-bats, and he has not been able to come through.
2-2 to Figgins. Just to put a punctuation on that 86. Which both franchises first California and Bellhorn over to Mankiewicz went out first California and then Boston. You know, the Bill Buckner 2,700 hits, wonderful career. No one ever complains about a ball that goes through his legs if Henderson doesn't hit the home run and they don't win the game. I mean, so one begat another. Both fans for both the Angels and the Red Sox are murmuring to this day. There was some pretty good players involved in that game, huh? Dewey Evans uncorking a throw from right. Rice, Lynn. Here's a pretty good player at the plate right here, and that's Darren Erstad. Sends it out of here. Has he impressed you today? Have these old-time Angels, even though they're behind Glaus, and here's Erstad. Homer, 2 singles, walk. 8-2. No one's told him this is over.
It's not, you know. We talked about it earlier. There's a miss. That ball's inside, middle in. Gets a lot of the plate. Darren Erstad, short stroke. Drives it out to right center field.
Swinging at the first pitch again is Vladimir Guerrero. Fouling it off. You know, the Angels, how's that, huh? Postseason in 2002, 421 against the Yankees, 364 against Minnesota, and 300 against the Giants.
Yeah, but the biggest hit he had this year was on Saturday when he hit that 2-run double in the 8th inning against Oakland.
Yep.
That 1-run win, putting them in a position to be where they're at today.
Yes, I think the biggest hit Guerrero got was Saturday too. Was a 2-run homer off Zito to get him even.
Yep.
And he's had some big hits here in the last week.
Alan Embry, the lefty, Mike Timlin, the righty, up in the Boston bullpen. And we'll say this about Anaheim's hitting, and that goes a long way to right, but in front of the track is Kapler to make the grab.
Taking a little bit off again, Tony, huh? Had him out in front.
And that's what Schilling does. It takes a little bit off, this one starts at the bottom of the zone, and that ball's down by his ankles, and he still almost drove that ball to the warning track.
Got it in the air. I mean,
yeah.
He's special, and we've not heard the last of him in this series.
That's the only way to describe him, as special, because he does things nobody else can do.
Schilling. Whoa! fires that away from Mankiewicz. And still churning is Anderson. And Garrett will make it into third. Looked like he had that play under control, and then whoop with the throw.
Well, he didn't stop his body and keep it under control. He just kept running like he was going to take it right on into the dugout when he had plenty of time. The difficult part was just getting to this ball. All right, he's out in front again. It's the off-speed pitch. Now he comes and gets it. All right, now all you have to do is stop. Set your feet. Stay on the inside part of the bag. Don't try to throw it over the runner. See what happens. The runner got in the way there. He tried to elevate it. If he stays on the fair part of the field, it's an easy play and inning over with. But now you've got the crowd back into this thing. You've got Terry Francona in a difficult spot to make a decision. He's going to pull out Dave Wallace, the pitching coach, to talk to Schilling.
Well, it looked like he might have hurt himself there. Maybe that's why he couldn't stop. It looked like after he made the throw, he reached down to grab his ankle. And maybe that's why he couldn't stop.
Well, we'll keep an eye on it. And here's Troy Glaus, who has powdered the ball for a homer and a double and a walk. I wanted to say this about the Angels. Figure 8-2, Schilling. They have a hit, at least a hit every inning, you know. It's not like they haven't been hitting. Three-base throwing error, Schilling. Here's Glaus. Oh, this is smacked to left center field. A boom off the wall. Anderson scores. Glaus safe.
And if nothing else, if you're an Angel fan, it's just making this game a little bit closer gives you some confidence for tomorrow.
You're exactly right, Tony. Whether they win this ball game or not, they're making a statement right now to the big boy, Curt Schilling. You saw Erstad make a statement. He's not gotten him out all day. And now Troy Glaus hits his second double. He's got a home run. He's walked.
Glaus and Erstad pounding it, and Curt Schilling will leave with an 8-3 lead. Angels aren't quite done. Have knocked out Curt Schilling, have gotten the crowd in it, and they've gotten busy. Couple runs home, runner in scoring position. And in 2002, twice they came from behind 5 runs down. This time Mike Scioscia's club 7 runs down. Did you have to put that up? Game 6 of the World Series. That was unbelievable. And they did it in the Yankee series earlier in the postseason.
Well, he's going for it now. Adam Riggs will pinch hit here for Jeff DeVannen. This is his best right-handed pinch hitter as far as power is concerned. He's already used his best left-handed pinch hitter. Mike Scioscia he's not saving anything for later. He's going for it now.
Well, again, it's not on paper as Alan Embry, the lefty, on an into Riggs. Riggs just saw action in 16 games. Didn't have a homer.
Tony, he's got some power though, doesn't he? You've seen him, you played with him.
He played with the Padres a few years ago and played a little bit last year with the Angels. He got a little pop.
Popped it up. Everybody charging. Varitek. Nice play. Embry comes in, quells the rally. Riggs gone. So's the 7th. 8-3 Red Sox. Here in Southern California's Orange County, the Red Sox with a 7 spot at the 4th inning. Lead the Angels 8-3 in the top of the 8th as Boston gets set with the top of the order. And Johnny Damon leading off for the 4th time today, right? 1, 2, yeah, my bad, 3. Led off the 1st, led off in the 3rd. It leads off 8th. 1 out in the 6th. But each team with 9 hits. It's not like the Angels haven't been hitting. The Red Sox with a 2-run homer, Millar. 3-run homer, Manny Ramirez in that 7-run 4th. And now a man once called Little Pedro. A lot of guys have been called Little Pedro, actually. He was one of them. Ramon Ortiz is in. Was his starter, now relegated to the bullpen. And Damon has come through with 2 hits as soon as Washburn is out. Kyle Peterson with us, special guest, Red Sox guest. Kyle?
Yeah, we're down there with Doug Flutie. Doug grew up in Boston, played at BC. Obviously a huge Red Sox fan. But what's it like to get a chance to see the Red Sox here close to your home now in San Diego?
Oh, it's great. It's a great opportunity for us. I was glad when it was Anaheim and not all the way up to Oakland, so on the day off we could get up here. It's awesome. It's the first playoff game I've been to since I was a kid. Because, you know, you're always out of town this time of year.
All right, now Red Sox fans always know a ton about their team, so we got to ask, in that last inning, if you're Terry Francona, do you take Schilling out of the game in that situation?
We were all saying get them through 6, rest them up for the next start, get ready to go. We got 9 outs, it's 8-1. But you never know. It's such a roller coaster with the Red Sox when you go to the bullpen, too.
You got Pedro going tomorrow. Been a huge part of this organization for a long time. What's the feeling with Pedro heading into tomorrow's game?
He's going to pick it back up. He'll find it back again. We'll get going, get up 2 games to none.
All right, now, you guys play this Sunday. Games 3 and 4 would be Friday and Saturday. How's that schedule? You get a chance to see everything.
It's not going to work. We're not. This will be my only chance to get to a game, I think.
Okay. Well, Doug, we appreciate your time. Thanks.
Thank you.
Okay. Guys.
Kyle, thank you. Here's Manny Ramirez. Doug Flutie running for a touchdown already this year for the Lightning Bolts. The surprising 2-2 Lightning Bolts. Manny Ramirez is up. One other note on them for you San Diego fans. They're wearing those great powder blue jerseys this Sunday against Jacksonville. The best uniform in the history of sports. Going to be worn this Sunday by the Chargers at home against Jacksonville. And wear them once a year. Manny Ramirez, whose home run in the 4th was his 17th postseason home run. Now, obviously, you play many more rounds in the postseason now than you once did. Most is Bernie Williams at 19. Reggie had 18. Mickey Mantle with 18. They only had the World Series then.
I know.
They happen to be in it every year.
I was going to say, it shows you how many times they get there.
There goes Damon. Molina's throw gets by. So that's a portent of what's to come, I think, with Damon on the move. I know it's an 8-3 game, but it's not over. But I think you're going to see him run more than usual in this series, son.
You know, I think you may see a lot of people for this Boston Red Sox team run a little bit more when you get Colon on the mound. You get Escobar in game 3. They're power-type pitchers, Tony. They can pick up that strikeout when you need it. So you'd like to have an opportunity to get some of those easy runs with your speed.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, this is a situation where, you know, it's 8-3, and it doesn't, you know, this run doesn't seem like much, but you know, Johnny Damon single, still second, and now you got Ramirez and Ortiz have an opportunity to drive him in. Speed makes a huge difference if you can take advantage of it. If you can use it, it can really help you.
Oh, man, up the middle, got a piece of Ortiz. How about that play by Fagan? He struggled at third in this game, but that was a gem at second base.
That's a great play. And he took the short hop, too. This ball ricochets off Ortiz. And watch him take the short hop, plant his feet, and make a good throw to first. Ernstad digs it out.
He looks a lot more comfortable there at second base than he did earlier in the ball game over at third base. That's a pretty good pitch to most people, but I don't know where you can consistently pitch Manny Ramirez. I mean, Ortiz very fortunate that he wasn't hurt more so than he is, and also fortunate he didn't give up another run.
And now they'll take a look at Ortiz. Now we're here in the postseason, where October brings us 8 teams to the post beginning today. 8 teams, 1 champion. The race to the World Series on. Catch all the action at ESPN and ESPN2. Don't miss it. Pair of games today. St. Louis with 5 home runs, 2 by Larry Walker. Now they will intentionally walk Ortiz. So Ortiz to Ortiz is an intentional pass. Doug Mankiewicz winning a pinch run after Millar's single in the 7th will get his chance at the plate to swing. So
We're thrilled to bring you divisional series action again for our 9th straight year, 9 years here at ESPN. And tomorrow, we're at it in the afternoon, in the early evening, we're at it after midnight. We're going to let it all hang out here at Anaheim. Astros Braves, the Rocket Man against Jarrett Wright in game 1 at 4 Eastern. Then the Twins and the Yankees in game number 2. John Lieber pitching well at home. We'll have that start tomorrow night for the Yankees. We'll see what happens tonight against Brad Radke. And then Bartolo Colon pitches for the Angels against Pedro Martinez tomorrow at 10 Eastern, 7 out here in the West.
I look for a lot more of a pitcher's duel tomorrow than thus far what we've seen today. The 2 starting pitchers today are used to a lot of run support. They led the American League in that category. Look at this.
Mankiewicz trying to bunt game at home. He does it. Oh, so they can play some little ball, huh?
Great idea. He lays down a perfect bunt. McPherson, last thing he's thinking about.
Team with the fewest infield hits in the American League just got one for a run.
Just a perfect bunt.
I remember a comment that Doug Mankiewicz made when he was part of that Olympic team that won the gold medal.
Right.
He hit like 4-15 or something like that. And he said, you know what, nobody's ever going to remember what I hit. He said, they're going to remember that we won. And you know what? I think that has really been the motto for this Boston Red Sox team since they got their team together.
You know, he fits right in as the type of guy and player, Sutton, Tony, with the kind of guys acquired last year by Theo Epstein, the Kevin Millars, the Billy Millers. Mirabelli's been here a couple of years. The kind of the bulldog, old-fashioned, but in the same way, frat house style a little bit. I think he fits right in with that group.
Well, he's another guy who plays the game the right way. He does the right things. And, you know, that situation, he's coming in to pinch hit. The last thing anybody expects him to do is drop a bunt. He sees McPherson's back, drops it down, gets the Red Sox another run. And those things, they start to add up.
Varitek under this one. To right is Vladimir Guerrero. And he makes the play, but Boston picks up a run. Heading to the bottom of the 8th, 9-3 Red Sox. Tony Gwynn with you. We'll be here tomorrow night at 10. We'll be here with you 4 o'clock Friday for Game 3 from Fenway. The Rally Monkeys are out. They have some work to do. Boston has made a couple of changes. Pokey Reese goes in for Bellhorn in second. And the new pitcher, Embry, just came in to get the out. And the new pitcher will be the right-hander Mike Timlin.
And I think right along with Kurt Schilling, another big change is the fact they have confidence this year in their closer, Keith Folk, as opposed to a year ago.
Benji Molina 1 for 3. Well, you know, the guys like Embry, like Timlin, they were part of that bullpen by closer by committee there for a while. Now it rolls defined.
I remember that revolving door they had. I mean, you know, they've had 4 different closers the last 4 years. There was Young Kim for a while. There was the young kid Lyon that went to Arizona for Kurt Schilling. Bobby Howry was there. I mean, Rudy Cienez was. I mean, they tried just about everybody. They got their guy now.
Here he is, Keith, just plain Folk.
Well, Derek Lowe's down there in that bullpen now. He was their closer. Urbina was their closer for a while.
Interesting to see how Terry Francona uses Derek Lowe now that he's not going to be a starter. I mean, he could. We'll see.
I am interested to see how he uses Lowe because you mentioned it before. He's closed before, but I really think he likes the back end of his bullpen, and the reason why he's got Lowe in the bullpen is, you know, if they get into the middle part of the game where they know they can need some innings. That's kind of what I was looking at, but they've got, you know, I think he's in pretty good shape pitching-wise this year.
You know, another guy, Tony, we were talking to, is pretty excited. Tim Wakefield worked before the game on the side again with Charlie Huff. And he came away really excited with the confidence that he's gained from that. He feels like his command is back. And, you know, it's all about confidence in this game. If you get on the mound, you think you're going to get it done, you got a better chance.
Yep. Wakefield have pitched so brilliantly, especially against the Yankees, although he was on the hill when Boone into homer. But the record will show he will start either game 3 or game 4. And that's because Arroyo could be used in the bullpen even tomorrow. It could be. Terry Francona telling us today. So if nobody pitches, I think Arroyo 3, Wakefield 4, I think. Molina to center. Damon says, everybody get away. And there is one out. Look at our game track brought to you by Bristol Myers Squibb, 7-run fourth, punctuated by the 17th postseason home run by Manny Ramirez, 3-run shot. Kurt Schilling's numbers will say that it wasn't his best postseason outing, but in the end, unless there's a major attack here by the Angels in the 8th and 9th, Kurt Schilling will be 6-1 lifetime as a postseason starter.
Yeah, and what else it's going to say is the fact that in his 12 appearances in the postseason, 11 times 2 earned runs or less.
Business as usual.
Yeah, but the one thing I'd be concerned about was him grabbing his ankle right before they took him out of the game, and make sure that he's going to be okay. And I think, you know, Kurt Schilling, you know he's going to be okay.
Well, he would next go in game 5 if there is one. If there isn't one, if the Red Sox end up on the wrong end of the stick, his next start will be April. If the Red Sox end up on the right end of the stick, his next start would be the ankle fine, game 1 of the ALCS, if they get that far, Tuesday.
Well, talking with Theo Epstein, they were planning on winning both games here. And they were planning on Kurt Schilling and Pedro Martinez pitching at least 15 of the 18 innings. He said that's what they're here for. You know, you talk about the bullpen and what's he going to do, how long will he stick with Pedro. I mean, these guys are getting paid a lot of money to win now. I mean, they felt like they were going to be in the postseason. They were there last year. They wanted more. This team has added the components they need to do more, but there's still a lot to be done.
Appeal did not go, says Jerry Meals. Count 1 and 2 to Eckstein. Short, Orlando Cabrera and Cavich. There are 2 outs. The Goodyear Tire and Rubber Company providing our aerial coverage. Reminding you to travel with peace of mind on Goodyear's new Assurance tires. Those views are great. I mean, not a lot in the way when you take a shot from up there down here. This is wow.
You guys ever been up in one of those?
Yeah, I have.
Have you really?
Yeah, once.
I think I'd like to do that.
Interesting.
I don't think so.
You don't hear me.
No,
It's all right, Tony.
Is it?
Yeah, it's
I'm
not.
a wimpy. I don't like
Quiet up
flying.
there. Just kind of there.
Tony's safe.
Hovering.
Tony's safe. I mean, he's always safe in things that he does.
I try to.
Tony, look. Tony, look. Wave, guys. No, it's kind of hover. You get an interesting view. Tony, as a guy who went the other direction so many times, you don't want to go up there?
I don't think so.
It's all right.
Yeah, it looks all right, you know, but I mean, that's.
Now.
Yeah, anytime you go in the air, I mean, I don't like flying either. But
now, parachuting or something like that on the plane. Now we have another discussion, okay? Yeah. Blimp is fine.
Okay.
And, you know, it's quiet. Look, it kind of glide up there. Hot air balloon. Never been in that?
No, heck no.
Ever done that, Seth?
No.
Done that once.
No, but I would. I mean, but I'd want a day like this to do it on.
Whoa.
You know.
Ball
look out.
Hit
it's
the
right
blimp.
at the blimp.
Right at it.
Dallas McPherson. Gabe Kapler shading his eyes against the glare off the blimp. Makes the catch. And we head to the ninth. 9-3 Red Sox. Well, the moment thus far has been for Boston. Chris Berman, Rick Sutcliffe, Tony Gwynn with you here at Angels Stadium of Anaheim. There it's 4 o'clock out here and 7 o'clock in the East. And the Red Sox lights out in the 4th inning. With a 7-run fourth, Kevin Millar began it with a 2-run homer. Manny Ramirez ended it with a 3-run homer. And that's more than enough for Curt Schilling, who's now out of the game. We're here in the 9th. With Orlando Cabrera, Bill Miller, and Gabe Kapler, 7, 8, 9. Sports Center following. Go ahead, Seth.
I'm just saying we've talked a lot about Cabrera's defense, and he's proven that today. This kid can play some offense too, can't he?
Yeah, he can. He's a good hitter. He's got a little bit of pop. He can drive the ball, uses the whole field very well, can run.
Chopper, big Dallas McPherson with a long throw over to Erstad. And Cabrera is out. Sports Center coming up following us here. Dan Patrick and Neil Everett, Shaka Bra. Rocket ready to get started. Yet another postseason for him and the Astros. Tomorrow's he ready to go? Remember, he missed that last start. Kerry Sheffield unloading on Barry Bonds. So that story. And Ricky Williams back to Miami. That Tahiti, Australia trip didn't last too long.
They could use him.
Really?
He's trying to find that $8.5 million to pay him back.
Yeah, well.
Yeah.
The Dolphins, man, they haven't allowed more than 17 points in any of their games, and they're 0-4. Yeeks. And they're playing the Patriots, who are going for 19 in a row this week in New England. How's that game looking?
Not good if
you're the Swami. Why are you asking?
Yeah, exactly.
I'm telling you how it's. No, I'm an uncharacteristic good start for the Swamp. Usually by hook, or shall I say by crook, we get back to 500 as the year goes on. This year, it's, what am I, 14 and 8? It's a shock. Ever since Jack McKeon had me smoke that cigar. Your old.
That's the magic man, Jack McKeon.
Your old skipper. Here's how you smoke a cigar. You picks at the World Series last year. You look nervous making these picks. You got to take a chance. Jack, Jack. He won the series. Swam hasn't turned back. It's magic.
Get you a cigar. And
away we go.
And there you go. Make your picks.
Ball hit well by Miller to center field. Back goes Garrett Anderson. Makes the catch about 390 feet away. Miller, one of the few Red Sox that had a base hit in this game.
Miller hit that ball good. The ball's in the middle of the plate, and he hit it good. He just hit it to the biggest part of the ballpark.
Looking at the numbers for Ortiz on the year and the fact that he was taken out of the rotation, I think he's been in the middle of that K zone most of the season.
Let's say this, guys. We have not seen the strength of the Angels, which is their bullpen, right? They have any sort of lead through 6 like tomorrow. It's a different sort of atmosphere and game, right, guys?
Well, and for whatever reason, they've got their horses lined up to pitch in Game 2 and Game 3. That's what Cologne was brought here for. Nice play on the part of Molina. They want to even this series up. They'll try to do it tomorrow.
We still have one last crack at it here as we move to the bottom of the 9th. Bring the scorebook to the game. You look back at it years later, you can remember this play, that play, and that lady is going to do just that. Probably has got some interesting games scored. If she was here in 2002, she's got some great ones. The Sports Center will have the highlights of today's game right here, and of course, Game 1 with LA beating St. Louis 8-3.
There's last year's right there.
I got good stuff in here too.
Oh, I know you do.
I scored every game I went to since I was pretty young. Sean Figgins, Darren Erstad, Vladimir Guerrero against Mike Timlin, who, you know, as a young man was a member of the back-to-back Toronto Blue Jays World Series champions, and he would like to be a part of another one of these squads before his career runs out. Been a veteran in postseason with Toronto and St. Louis there in 2000, 2001. Pitched in 8 of the 12 Red Sox postseason games last year. So Timlin going with for the last, hopefully for him, last 6 outs for Boston. So let's look ahead to tomorrow night, guys, as we look at Figgins 2-2. kind of how do you think you're going to get from Pedro? You already talked about it. Strike 3. Kind of how do you think Pedro Martinez is going to have tomorrow? So you weren't sure. What do you think?
I think it's going to come down to that leadoff guy, because you know that Mike Scioscia will push the envelope. A little bit surprised that he didn't run a little bit more early in the ball game. He was trying to calm down some of the younger players. I look for a better effort from Figgins tomorrow, both offensively and defensively, and I really look for Mike Scioscia to try to take over the ball game.
How about Bartolo Colon, Tony?
Colon, he threw great his last time out, and the problem with him is, to me at least, I think the Red Sox hitters really kind of match up with Bartolo Colon. Colon's more of a power pitcher, fastball pitcher. These guys are fastball hitters. I think we're going to have an interesting matchup here tomorrow.
We'll have that game for you at 10 Eastern, 7 Pacific. Well, Red Sox fans, I know the pessimism it just abounds. I know. After they win a game 1, they're 4-5. Is that the next game, or is that in the series, that graphic? In the series, they're 4-5, even after winning game 1. And we told you, 2002, the Angels lost game 1 of all 3 series and won. So it's never, 19-18 ain't up there for a reason.
I know.
But it's not too late start. You can sleep in tomorrow. Don't worry about it.
Get plenty of time. Get to the park early. Well, I think Pedro's going to step out there and throw well. I know he didn't throw well at the end.
Look at the face. Oh, boy, what could happen now?
You can't tell if they're winning or losing right now.
It's great. The Red Sox fans, they come.
They can't even enjoy today's win. They're worried about the game
They're already
tomorrow.
thinking about the end of the series.
9-3, but Timlin's in. Hey, what? Hey, Timlin looks great, huh?
Yeah, he does.
He looked great in the postseason last year.
Yeah, he did. 5 up, 5 down. It's about the only time Erstad's been handled today.
Yeah.
Single, walk, single, homer.
Timlin
Now the last
allowed.
hope is Guerrero, who's looking for his first postseason hit.
I think Timlin only allowed 1 hit in the postseason last year.
Great.
Right at 9 innings pitched.
Ninth game tomorrow. Then the teams fly all night. Thursday, quote, off, but after you do a red eye, that's hardly an off day. They'll stagger through a workout, probably optional. They'll want to see the park and get in there. I mean, the Angels were just there at the beginning of September. Series won by Boston. Out here, the Angels beat the Red Sox 4 out of 6 games. The one that really counts is this one.
He could use a hit here. Tony?
He could use a hit because
first time ever in the postseason.
First time in the postseason, you want to kind of get a hit under your belt. He hadn't really been very patient today. He's been very aggressive.
That'll foul. He wanted to chop it off himself. Now, in the end, the fact that Kurt Schilling won a postseason game, whether he had 8 or 9 runs to work with or 4, is not. It's not shocking news, is it?
Not.
Now, how about Terry Francona managing his first postseason game? I asked him on the way out of the office. Terry, how are you? He didn't even let me complete the question. He says, yeah, I'm nervous. Would you be? Yeah, I was. I couldn't even get through it. So how are you?
Yeah, I was sitting in to his press conference yesterday, and everybody was kind of putting him on the grill about his first postseason, and was he nervous? And
of course you are. You'll sleep better tonight.
Just like for the kids on the Anaheim's team, for Figgins and Amezaga and Guerrero. This is the first time in the postseason for them too. I'm sure they're first chance getting to play. I'm sure they're a little bit nervous when it started out. I think some of the mistakes that happened early really showed that, but they will settle down and get back to playing baseball.
Guerrero takes the collar on this day, and Mike Timlin and Jason Varitek shake hands. It's all Boston. A 7-run 4th inning. Put this thing away with homers by Millar and Manny Ramirez.
Kurt Schilling, another postseason win for him. So the Red Sox win game 1 of this ALDS over the Anaheim Angels 9-3. We'll see you tomorrow night at 10 Eastern, 7 on the coast. Sports Center coming up next. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. Rick Sutcliffe, Tony Gwynn, Kyle Peterson. Enjoyed it, fellas. I'm Chris Berman. Thanks for watching from Anaheim.